Hello, hello, hello. It is the first D&D stream of our new party, so thank you everybody for everybody for joining us. It's sort of coming together. Um, just a quick check on levels. How is everything sounding so far?
I was about to be like, that sounds great, but
It sounds great to to us.
You sound great.
Okay, well, we can get started here. I am going to be the DM for this campaign. My name is Pierce, and I would like, if we have a second, for everybody to go around, quickly introduce themselves. We're going to get into character introductions, so we're going to do that one at a time, but I will let it off. Why don't we start with you, Bryce?
My name's Bryce. You can find me on Twitch at TheWeeGuy76 and on Twitter at the same username.
Okay. Go ahead.
I go by Draco West. Draco West on Twitch, Draco West on Twitter, Draco West on everything and all of it.
Aaron, you want to go?
sorry, I'm busy typing out everyone else's usernames and forgot to type out mine. I'm Aaron or Aylwin, and you can find me at twitch.tv, Aaron Go Brach.
I'm Ducky. You can find me at twitch.tv/Ducky2010 and on Twitter at Ducky201 because someone already took Ducky2010.
Those sneaky butts.
That's like my Twitch username is Twitter one is the same. Someone has Aaron Go Bra all one word, and someone has Aaron_Go_Bra. That's why it's Aaron Go_Bra. This is the only option I had.
And this man, have to apologize. I'm struggling a little bit with the Skype thing, but we're gonna get it ironed out. Everyone's a little quiet except for Pierce, or Pierce is too loud. Thank you, Llama. I will up this and
Probably Pierce is too loud.
Drop myself a little bit and see if that changes anything.
Let's be honest.
Pierce is good at making himself heard.
I'm really loud. I'm loud.
Do you know what I was told in my training session over the week? They're like, Logan, you really need to speak up and be louder. I'm like, you are the only person who've ever told me.
You don't know me very well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can get started here. This is running in 5th edition D&D, and everyone has taken a lot of time and put a lot of effort into their characters, so I want to say thank you to that. We are going to go one by one and do some introductions, and I think we will start with Ducky. So Ducky, do you want to tell us a little bit about your character?
Okay, so my character's name is River Winterbreeze. It's spelled weird because halflings are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Halfling character. I am a fighter, so I like to stab things a lot. Halflings are weird. So they're a bounty hunter by trade. And the reason why they are in the town is because they were following a contract.
Following a contract. Okay. So we will get started here. I wanted to, and oh my gosh, now that I'm seeing what OBS is doing with this screen capture, I am hoping that this actually works. So I'm going to transition.
My face is like super close.
Do you have?
I know your face is super close, and I'm sorry. I am sorry about that.
You just want to be closer to you.
We'll transition over to this, and I'll show you a little bit about where we're at in the world. So,
There is also a zoom out option on Skype if you.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
There we go. Zoom out. So we can see here in the world where we're at. We're in the city of Luskan. It's on almost the farthest northwest as you can get in the Sword Coast. It is a frontier town. It is very hardy. Right now we're transitioning from summer to fall, and so things have started to cool off. Caravans have started to slow down. People are getting geared up to try and get ready for the winter, which hits pretty hard in this time. At this part of the world. And things about Luskan, it's like being from Frontier, it interacts a lot with the barbarians that are up north. It interacts and trades quite a bit with Neverwinter, which is the biggest city to the south. Mirabar to the east is another big trading partner, and it's connected by a river, the River Mirror, that goes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Phone is now on silent. I didn't realize it wasn't.
That's okay. I'm anticipating in a little bit that my wife and kid are gonna get home from his martial arts lessons, so I'm anticipating a little bit of a loud interruption, but we'll try and keep it down as much as we can. So we take up. River is on the outskirts of the city, and if we're looking now at the actual city to go and see, to show this for you. This is the city of Luskan, and we will transition to that. Oh.
Something's going on with the camera. Hold on.
Oh,
Panic.
We're not gonna panic. Everything's fine.
Oh my god, what's happening?
Discord,
Okay, I'll fix it with
please
Hold on.
give us.
Disco.
Please
Oh,
give us
sorry.
all.
Discord, please give us video chat. I would really appreciate it.
Please.
Oh
So.
my god, and now here comes Hilo. Okay, there we go. Yeah, perfect time for some Hilo.
Hey, Hilo butt. There we
Hey.
go.
Kitty
Butt. So Ducky, you are. You said that you're bringing
Zoom right into Hilo's butt.
bringing a contract back to the city.
Yeah.
So what? Tell me a little bit more about your role. So you said that you are a bounty hunter.
Yes.
So can you expand a little bit on that?
So I'm a relatively new bounty hunter, but have proven that I can, find the marks, I guess. Particularly for I try to keep the people alive. So I tend to go after kind of like the petty crime, like the petty thieves and the small time people who just are trying to run away because they don't want to go to jail or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I tend to go for.
And you mainly focus in urban or out in the wilderness?
Mostly in the urban and like the towns and cities. Definitely a lot more at home there because my small size lets me blend in easier.
Okay. So we take up your action where you are escorting your latest capture back to what's called the Prisoners Carnival. And that is where in Luskan all of the sort of corporal and capital punishment takes place. It is where people are paraded around and they get cabbage thrown at them and that kind of stuff. So I'm picturing you.
Shame.
Yes,
shame.
exactly. It's very much public shaming. And this little
Fun.
wretched person that you have in manacles, as you're dragging him back through the city to collect on your bounty, is pleading for his life. And you know that this person was captured for theft, but you notice that they already have their right hand has been cut off, and so this person screaming, and they're just high-pitched screaming like, if they catch me again, they're not going to take my other hand, they're going to take my head. Please, you have to let me go.
Well, you should have thought about that before you tried to run away.
Oh, you don't understand. I was starving. My family was starving. Everyone was starving. How am I supposed to survive? It's winter. Yeah.
I don't see how that's my problem.
Oh, okay. And the person it kind of goes slack a little bit, and then in a flurry of action is trying to like thrash and get away and break out of your bonds. And can I get you to make a strength check for me, please?
I don't know. I'm not very good at those. It's not doing the thing. Oh, oops. There we go.
14. Okay, 14 is enough. This person was particularly emaciated and, I mean, wasn't really going to be able to put up much of a fight. So
Has one hand.
Yeah, and has one hand. But that other hand, that other
Really
hand
hope
is,
you can beat a one-handed
is
person.
strong.
It's a strong stump.
It is a strong stump, and they got a good whack with their stump on you to try and distract you, but you were quickly able to just sort of like put them down, and you tie them up more tightly, and you bring them back and hand them off to the High Captain's Court, which is running the prisoners' carnival. And are you gonna stick around and watch the festivities, or is this something that you just want to sort of take off?
I think it's my first time here, so I want to see exactly what they do to, the people that I'm gonna bring.
Okay, so I mean,
That's not the answer you were hoping for.
No, it's fine. This is I got it worked out. This is an event. Picture like a public spectacle. This is the highlight of everybody's day. Like coming down and seeing everybody parading around, depending on the severity of your crime, depends on how many circuits around the ring you have to do, and people are pelting you with rocks and cabbage. And picture the smell too. I mean, this is like this is like fetid, rotten, gross smelling sweat and everything else. There was one thing that you noticed though, and that's you catch the eye of some activity that's going on in the crowd, and especially someone who comes up and bumps up against you, and you notice that there is a little gang of pickpocket children that are sort of working their way through the crowd. Now, they come up to you and they start begging for money first, and they say like, please, we're so hungry and our parents were murdered. Like, do you have anything to spare?
I'll give them a little bit.
Give them a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, how many kids?
I mean, there's one that's begging from you, but that there's a bunch more of them.
So is there just one interacting with me, or is there like one and then like a couple kids hanging back?
I mean, there's one, and then you noticed at least 5 or 6 that were working the crowd.
Okay, but they're not like directly in my vicinity. It's just the one kid.
I mean, you kind of know because you have experience in this sort of thing that if you were to give them some money, it's sort of 50-50 if they're going to swarm you and try and get you, or if they're going to then leave you alone. So you kind of got to take it as it comes.
Yeah, I'll give the kid 1 gold.
1 gold. Okay.
1 gold.
He looks at it, and I mean, you got to picture this is probably more money than he's held in his hand, and all of a sudden, like, he looks around to see if anyone saw him get a gold piece, and he is gone, like took off.
Yeah.
And you notice though that all of the other children, instead of swarming you, are chasing that kid. Like they're trying to get away. So you watch the festivities, and true to form, this person that you captured, it goes up and is sentenced. And I mean, it takes most of the morning to get through all of there's a lot of killing that has to happen, a lot of executions, and he gets through. And yeah, he is instead of having his hand cut off, he is sentenced to death. And you watch him get his head cut off, and then you sort of you gotta get a sense of that this is sort of the kind of brutality of how they're operating in this world, and they're going to kind of move on from there. And you're probably going to head back to your contact with the Bounty Hunters Guild.
Alrighty.
All right. And while you're on your way there, someone pulls you aside, and it is a dwarf, about an average height dwarf. He's got red beard with
So about 2 feet taller than me.
about yeah. I mean, only about a foot or so taller than you. He's about 4.5, 5 feet tall. He's pretty tall for a dwarf. And he kind of gruffly comes up and he says, I got a sense that that if someone needs finding, then you're the one that we can contact. Is that true?
Yeah, for the right price.
Okay. Well, then he kind of like puts a slip of paper into your hand and says, "If you're interested in work, meet us at this location tonight at
All right,
sundown."
I will look at the paper.
All right. I mean, the paper it's an address that kind of gives you the location down in the kind of seedier part of town, but it's pretty clear directions. It says, across from the Dancing Boar Tavern and second floor, that kind of thing, and you'll be able to find it.
All right, cool.
All right, and on that note, we will transition over to who wants to go next?
How about Bryce?
Bryce.
Meet the bus, Bryce.
I got my notes ready.
All right, Bryce, can you give us a general sort of introduction to your character, and then we'll get you introduced?
So my character's name is Fang Selmick. He is a 24-year-old human. He is a scholar. He's been a scholar for most of his life because when he was 5 years old, he was the victim of a spellcasting accident. And what happened is the spell was cast on him, and the spell was supposed to give him like upgraded vision. It was supposed to make his eyes on par with that of a hawk's. But the spell backfired, and instead of turning his eyes, it actually damaged his entire body. Like most of his face is covered in feathers. There's lightning scars over his face. Whatever isn't covered in feathers is like jagged scars all the way up his face. His feet have been changed to talons. His hands are like long and spindly. It looks like somebody went to work on him with a rolling pin. And because of that, he was always seen as a freak. He was never accepted by his peers in school. And because he disliked school so much, he eventually became homeschooled by a gnomish tutor. And he spent so much time in the books that he learned so much about this world. And on top of that, he learned to become an archer. So he spent nearly every night for probably 12 years or something learning archery. And as a result of this, he's become like a top-notch archer. And he's armed with a longbow, a whip, and a dagger to cover his ass at short range. He has started research a couple years ago. He lives in Luskin to research the parts around it, research nature. And just recently he discovered a subspecies of alpine eagle, and he submitted it to the Arcane Tower for review. And that deadline has come up, and I believe he shall be appearing in front of the Arcane Court in regards to that review.
That's correct. So that's where we're sort of gonna pick up with Fang. And so you picture going up and walking down the bridge that leads to the Arcane Tower, and it's not just one tower, it's a series of towers. It rises up on the sort of western, like if you're in Luskin and you're looking west out to the ocean, there's a couple big landmarks. There's like if we transition now to here, you can sort of see the Arcane Tower out in the bay, and this is something that's sort of like a fixture, and it's these four spires, and it looks like a tree. And as you're walking, you're kind of like struck by the awe of this, and you go in, and it's got that intense Gothic architecture on the inside, and you're sort of ushered through, and you go before the arcane court, and they're sort of, you go in and you're getting a pretty frosty sense right away from them about this meeting. The major domo who kind of brings you through is he's quite brusque, and he says, "Oh, you wait here," and you wait, and then you come through, and he kind of rushes you through, and plunks you down, and then you got it kind of looking, and you're looking at these stern wizards who are just kind of like, their eyes are boring into you, and then it's like, the specific, let me take a look here. The person that you're speaking with would be Druet the Raven, the Overwizard of the North, and this is the person who is concerned with all of the goings-on north of Luskin, and this person is the kind of person that you need to make the case to in order for them to buy into your research and become a patron of yours. So,
Right.
So make your case. What he looks at you and he says, like, so this eagle, tell me more. What have you found?
So this eagle that I found, it's called and I need to find it because I wrote it down, but I can't remember
it's
it off the top
okay.
of my head.
Just roll.
Give me
with
a
it.
sec. This is why I keep a journal, so I can have this stuff on tap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's this. It's a subspecies of the Quetzal eagle, and we found it in the mountain ranges up north, the spine, or just outside Raven Rock on the spine of the world. And I'm like, nobody's ever seen this before, and I think the way that they interact with the with the food web and how they contribute to the workings of that ecosystem, I think it's really important. That's why we need to bring
just
attention.
sort of see the wizards, they're talking, they're looking around, and they're kind of yawning, and they're like, okay, and he kind of like snaps his fingers, and he's like, get to the point, Mr. Selmick. Why is this of value to us?
At this point, my face just like falls. It's like this is a major blow to him, because this was he spent 2 or 3 weeks working on this to make the deadline for it to be reviewed, and his face just collapses at that. Like,
all right, can you make a performance check for me, please?
performance. Where may I find performance?
In core, on the core page, it is one of your skills. Or persuasion. I would take persuasion or performance here.
I'll just do performance.
So you roll 12 on your performance check. They're not convinced, and
All right.
they are. They're now.
they're not happy.
They're now saying that, like, we feel like you've wasted our time here today, and I hope you understand how important our time is. And they basically throw you out. There are some guards who come, and they kind of grab you by each shoulder, and they kind of, like if you were fired at the end, so you can't steal anything, they kind of like directly escort you out, and
Right.
yeah, and they say, don't come back until you have something actually of value.
My legs are just lead at this point, and my knees are kind of shaking, and I can't believe that this just happened. How the tower could just throw me out without really even hearing my case.
Right.
And I slowly drag my feet back to where I came from, back to my flat. Things going in my head, trying to figure out how I can either make this more convincing, or work on one of my research projects I have as a backup to hopefully get that back up and running.
Okay. Now, as you are entering back into your flat, you're fumbling with the keys to your door. You hear a loud, "Excuse me, Mr. Selmick," behind you, and you turn around, and there standing is a very, very angry landlord. And he said, "Mr. Selmick, I still do not have your rent for this month."
And then I say, and I stutter, but I wrote you a letter last weekend. I tried to explain my situation, but you never responded.
I don't care about your situation, Mr. Selmick.
Oh,
Poor guy.
And you just kind of see him, and they said, I have my two associates here are going to have a little chat with you, and I think that we can come to an agreement about extracting something of worth from you or from your suite, and then we can check in again next month. How does that sound? And he steps back, and these two very large, like they could be like some giant in them, like large men are stepping up, and they're kind of coming at you. Now, what are you gonna do?
My hand sort of goes in, well, not inside my cloak, but it goes closer to the dagger that's on my thigh, and I say, well, what did you want from me exactly?
Well, for starters, that is quite a fancy bow you have on your back. I bet
Oh, I
that
didn't
would
know I was armed. I thought that was in my apartment. Shit. Okay. And I
You
say,
probably carry it with you when you're out in public because Luskin's pretty rough, but they would have taken it from you when you went into the arcane tower.
and I received it when I
You
left.
received
I
it
guess.
when you left, yeah.
And I say, how valuable do you think that is?
Well, it appears to be quite valuable to you.
That's very true.
So, you could either let us go into your apartment and rummage around, or you can give us your longbow.
I say, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I slowly draw my dagger. And do I have my whip with me or no?
Yeah, you'd have it on you. You'd be fully kitted out, for sure.
Okay. And I say, I don't think that's gonna happen. And my hand reaches for both my dagger and my whip in right, dagger in left.
Okay. So, they come in at you, and I mean you are faster than them, so I think that you're gonna get the first strike off. So you say you want to go with your dagger.
How far away are they?
They're close. They're
Like a couple,
they're
like 5 feet, 10 feet.
5 feet away. They're within
5
arm's
feet.
reach of you.
Okay.
So can I get you to roll attack for your dagger, please?
Roll attack. I'll just roll the dagger.
Yeah.
I'll roll the dagger.
So that's a 19 to hit. That is going to be a hit. So, and you hit him for 7 damage. Now, as we go through this, and I'm just going to step out of character as the DM here for a second here. We can go one of two ways. You could, I think it makes more sense if you describe exactly what happens. Now, this in particular is a killing blow against this thug. Now,
Okay.
it is. And so do you want to go ahead and describe exactly how Fang takes down this thug in like one deft strike of his dagger?
Well, so I'm moving faster than them, right?
Right.
So, what I say? How do I want this to unfold? I would say like I was coming around with like my left hand, and like it went. How big is this guy actually? If I'm like 5'8", how big are
They're
these
easily
guys?
like 6'4", 6'5". They're big.
6'4". Okay, so with my dagger, I kind of go up and get the dagger like in his side, like up into the rib cage.
Okay.
So it's like up and like that.
All right. And now this guy's gonna come at you, and he's going to pull out. He's got like a truncheon at his side. Like I don't think that they came expecting like a lethal fight. He's got this club that I think that they're probably going to use to try and give you a good bash. So let's see if. So that's a 10 versus your AC, and I think that's a miss. Your AC is 14.
Where would that be? I'm so
It's
unfamiliar
okay.
with this.
AC 14. I can see that it's a miss. So he comes and he looks over and sort of sees this visceral scene unfold where his friend like boom, just like gah, dagger like right in through the rib cage and drops
Mm-hmm.
him thud. And then we have he comes at you with the club and whew, just absolutely misses. Now you get to come back again. Are you what are you gonna do now?
Well, where is he in position, like in
He's
relation to
close.
me?
They're both pretty close.
Would it be like behind me or?
No, he's in front of you. Like picture you being able to sort of act in 5 feet all around you, and he's within 5 feet.
Okay, so trying to think how much time this would take. If I could take out my dagger,
Each turn is
let's
6 seconds. You could take out your
okay.
dagger.
Take out my I was gonna say take out my dagger and what I do, swap it over to my other hand and go like a full 360 around and just get as much speed as I can
Mm-hmm.
and put it like bury it into his side.
All right, roll for it. Let's see.
My dagger.
These rolls have been good.
Whoa.
This is just like when I was rolling for stats.
That's right. It is exactly like you were rolling for stats. Now you come around and you do your whirlwind and you sink that dagger in deep. Now this isn't a killing blow, but this guy is done. He is done with the fight and is now he pulls out the dagger, boom, throws it on the ground, and he's like, "No gold is worth this," and he freaking books it. He is gone. Like kind of limping down the street, and he's leaving a trail of blood. And he's going trying to get somewhere at least away from you.
Can I
Sorry,
draw my
what?
longbow?
What noise is he making?
Can I draw my longbow and try and get him?
If that's what you want to do, for sure. Just,
I feel like this might be.
No mercy.
you're gonna put
maybe-
him. You're gonna put him down.
Well, I
are
don't
you?
want anyone to figure out that they're like died. Like if I can put them in a river or something,
right.
and then
Sure.
because this is like Fang doesn't want to lose everything he's had, so this is like emotionally charged. He's not really sure of what he's doing right now.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you as the narrator, you have every right to say that this isn't like this wouldn't be
Go
in
ahead.
character.
This is if this is what you want to do, I'm not gonna stop you.
Do I have my quiver with me?
Yeah. You're
Okay,
good.
so I pull out my longbow and quiver, and is he like 20 feet, like 30 feet off the
he's
street?
probably he's booked at. He's about 25, 30 feet up the street. Yeah.
So I draw my bow and aim for right between the shoulder blades.
All right. Roll for it. Let's see.
Keep forgetting where my sheet is.
Okay. I mean, you just cleanly miss. And
Oh, I miss. Okay.
yeah, at this point there is. I mean, he's kind of ducked down an alleyway. So if you wanted to give chase, you could go after him. But at this point, he's sort of he's made his escape.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to put my bow back where it is, and then as like stand there for a couple seconds and look down at the guy that I just killed,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I just do?
Yeah, and your landlord is now nowhere to be found. Probably off to try and get the authorities.
Oh, this just went downhill real fast.
Yeah. So, and it's at this point where you're sort of looking at the door to your sort of apartment block. It's this stonework building, and where there's your door to open up into your suite, and then immediately on the stone wall right next to you there is a door that you hadn't seen there before up until like it showed up instantly. There's
This door just appeared there.
the door appears there and opens up the door, and you're sort of looking up, but then you look down and it's this probably about like 3'6", 3'7", very old wizened gnome that's sort of wearing these sable robes with gold trim. It's got gold. She's got sort of thick glasses on her face and sort of like wispy gray hair that sort of sticks out in all directions. I mean, it just looks a little bit crazy. And she says, "Well, Mr. Selmick, it seems like you've got yourself in quite a pickle."
I look back at the body and I'm like, yeah, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. All right. Well. Come in, come in. I've made you some tea. And you've never seen this woman before, but she very clearly knows you.
That's just, I'm like, who are you?
Oh, I heard about your research on the new alpine subspecies of eagle, and I'm very interested. Why don't you come in?
I look behind my shoulder, like, to check down the street to see if anyone's coming. I'm like,
At this point, yeah, you do see some. Your landlord has returned, and there are some city guard with him, and they're on their way down the street.
is like the door open to
The
my
door,
apartment?
no, the door isn't open to your apartment.
Okay. So I look back at this gnomish wizard. Is that it?
Gnomish wizard.
I'm like, do you know these guys are chasing me or what?
Well, I do know that if you stay here, you're probably going to be thrown in the dungeon.
I follow her into the door.
All right. Well, thank you. Now, why don't we? Who would like to go next between Draco and Aaron?
I volunteer Aaron because Aaron volunteered.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Now we have Aaron, and why don't you take a second, Aaron, just to describe your character before we jump in?
Oh, I need to bring my journal back up so I can remember what I wrote down.
All right.
'Cause I don't have Bryce's penchant for storytelling. So I'm Aelwyn. I think we decided on you say Aelwyn.
I think you
Wormwood?
said Aelwyn. Yeah.
Aelwyn, yeah. It's supposed to be Welsh, and the Welsh like to pronounce silly names. I am a half elf from Evermeet, the Elven province,
Yeah, it's a kingdom. It's like
state, kingdom, protectorate, whatever
Yeah.
territory you want to call it, from the north. My mom was not a noble, but a highborn elf lady from a prominent family who fell in love with my father, a lower caste human. Not human. Spent too long
Human.
human, a lower caste human who came up there to be a trader. Grandpa did not approve of this. He had already arranged for my mother to marry to another high elf from another high house to strengthen my family's power in the area. So when mom found out she was pregnant with me, she booked it. Dad came to, I think from what father told me, they were in hiding until I was about 6 or 7 months old when Grandpa's men eventually found them.
Mm-hmm.
Had to return to, I'm never going to say this properly, Lethelspar.
That's
It's
the capital city.
the capital city of Evermeet,
Yep.
where my family lived when I was an infant. And I was kind of sort of locked away and hidden. If we had been lower class, Grandpa probably just would have left me in the woods. But because we were a higher family, he did at least spare me. Half elves are kind of looked down upon among pure blood elves. So
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm not pure enough.
No.
I was apprenticed by an old warlock who taught me everything I know in terms of spell casting. Flash forward to now, 22 years later, I've had to flee Evermeet. My mother became ill with a plague that is going around, and when she passed, the protection that she had for me did as well. And there were several people from her original betrothed's family who wanted to punish me for the sins of my mother, as she had a love marriage instead of an arranged marriage with my father. Father's existence even less tolerated than my own. Not only is he a human, but
That's right.
he also, knocked up one of the rich lord's daughters. Not a good move. And he could not offer the same protection as my mother once could. And he also knew I sort of wanted to get out, to explore, not sort of be like a princess in a tower locked away type
Mhm.
deal. So I left because this plague is what took my mother from me. I'm trying to find some cure for this dwarven pox, and I've wound up in Luskan on a refugee ship
Yeah, so
in
that's sort
search
of
of
where we cut in.
an
Is
adventure.
yes, and this ship that you were on that sort of left Evermeet, heading across the ocean. It very quickly went from a refugee ship, and this is something that you noticed. It very quickly became a plague ship.
Oh, great.
There was one or two people who were infected with the disease, and it very quickly spread amongst all of the people on board. And I mean, you were turned away from several ports along the way. I mean, you first tried to get into Waterdeep, and they said, and then you head north, and at each spot, you're in more and more dire straits. Like this ship is now doesn't have enough crew in order to sail very efficiently, and the more northernly you go, the more dangerous it gets. On one occasion, a pirate ship came and wanted to take the ship because it was defenseless. And once they saw all of the dead people, they very quickly booked it back onto their ship. And this is where you sort of your ship is like limping into the harbor. Like if you're
Me and one oar just
Yeah.
sort of trying to paddle it into
it's
harbor.
you and I guess probably about like no more than a dozen people who are still alive on this thing, and it was a bigger ship. It had a crew of over 100. So, and this was a big ship that came from Evermeet. They don't happen all that often. So, when you get into the harbor, very quickly it is sort of the last stop, right? So, from the harbor out comes a ship, and it's full of clerics and other people who are gonna come and try and check on the passengers. And it becomes sort of clear that they kind of make the determination that like they're not going to let you right into the city. So they're going to take you off the ship, and they bring you onto an island that has like a big sort of keep on it. And you can picture this as sort of like an Ellis Island kind of situation where you're coming in and it's like an intermediary, so they can try and process you and see about what they're going to do with you, right? And
Okay.
you're kind of swept away in this, like, come here, go there, like just people ordering you around and not necessarily giving you a lot of options. And I mean, being completely new to the land as well, you have no idea if this is normal.
I'm gonna
Like,
take a stab in the dark and assume maybe with a ship full of dead people, they're probably a little cautious.
maybe a little bit cautious to just be like, okay, sick lady, go wander off into the streets.
Yeah, we're just gonna quarantine you over here for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So we go now, and we're talking about you're placed into like a quarantine cell, and I mean they've provided you with food and water, and they're taking good care of you, and this goes on for a number of hours. You can sort of see the day passing and through the window that leads to outside, and as evening comes and you finish your dinner, then the door opens and in walks a middle-aged man wearing robes, and he kind of comes up and he sits down and he says, "So, how are you finding Luskin so far?"
Well, I'm not quite sure what I expected. Father did warn me people might not welcome me with open arms, but I didn't expect a cell.
Oh, well, you have to understand our position. First off, I didn't happen to catch your name. What was your name, young lady?
Aelwyn Wormwood.
Aelwyn. Well, Aelwyn, we are generally cautious about visitors. However, we are particularly cautious about visitors who have the potential to kill us. What do you know about the nature of the disease that's ravaged the ship that you were on?
Well, I know where I'm from, we call it dwarven pox.
Yes.
And
Elves tend to call it dwarven pox. It has a number of names.
well, I mean, dwarves are dirty. Um, let's just set myself up as a racist straight off the bat.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah.
So I left my home in search of coming to anywhere away from the plague to try and find something, some sort of cure or something to help, as it is
Help,
ravaging my
herpes.
people.
Well, I must tell you that the Arcane Tower has taken a great interest in this pox that you've talked about. We think that it maybe has its uses?
I mean, what sort of use could you possibly have for a murderous plague of death?
I think you know. However, this is why we aren't going to let you leave. You have. I'm sorry if you can hear that. You hear an angry kid screaming in the background?
Oh, now
Yes.
Yes.
Pretend that's that's happening
Yeah,
in
okay.
universe.
So
Don't
in
immersion.
the cell next to you, you can hear there is a lot of dying going on, right? Because there's some people who, while you appear to be completely unaffected by the plague, it's sort of you are hearing it like ravage. And he's starting to scream for water, and he's mad because they're not giving him water.
he sounds very angry.
Very angry. And you know what? That's what happens. Sometimes kids get very angry when they don't get what they want. So he leans into you and he says, we have reason to believe that you may actually be instrumental in trying to figure out how to control this plague. Yeah, and the kid is screaming about not wanting to do what they wanted to do, and oh, man,
What emulsion? What environment we have? You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So
I'm really feeling like there's a
So
screaming
lifelike.
child here.
That's
I
right.
know.
It's almost like there is a screaming 4-year-old in the house.
The power of suggestion is so strong.
That's right. So, so what
So
we
they think I have I can do something about the plague. It sounds like they want me to spread it.
it seems more like, okay, can you roll insight for me, please, on your sheet?
Insight. Oh, sorry, I double clicked. I didn't mean to.
It's okay. I mean, we're gonna go with the first one, which is actually a crit failure.
Yeah.
So that's some grade A quality roll in there, Aaron.
Yeah. Are you sure we can't take the second roll? It's much better.
Sorry, so can somebody let me know what the difference between the left number and the right number is?
Okay, so every roll that we do, the way I've set it up in Roll20 is that the left number is the number that you would use on every normal sort of roll, and the right number is what would either be like it. So it talks about like the concept of advantage. So there's advantage. Advantage means you roll two d20s and you take the higher roll. Disadvantage is you roll two d20s, you take the lower roll. So this just has the built-in concept of advantage in it.
Okay.
So you can, if you have disadvantage, you take the lower roll. If you have advantage, you take the higher. If you have neither, then you just take the left one.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect.
So Erin rolled 2 critical failures. So even if she had an advantage, she still would have lost.
Yeah, it was horrible. She really
Yeah.
did. She
The worst roll you could possibly have.
Basically, yes.
At least I didn't roll a complete natural 0.
What is
or
that, like
natural
one in a 400 chance?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We all know I don't math, so.
Yes. So while you can probably make some general ideas about why they find you interesting, you actually are kind of oblivious as to why. When he says things like "I think you know," and you're just like, like crickets.
No, I don't.
Like crickets. Crickets.
That's why I asked.
I have no idea what's going on here.
Just whoosh.
That's right. So, and he says, "Well, I'd like to keep you in quarantine for a few days, and I'm going to we're going to see if you die. If you die, then well, our interest in you is done. If you don't, and we know that you've been exposed to the plague, then we think you may be of use to us." So he says, "I hope you enjoyed your dinner and make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here for a while."
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I guess there's no real way out of this short of hitting them. They probably would have taken my weapons, hey? My crossbow, or my quarterstaff and my little crossbow.
You didn't really have much of that when you came across, and certainly would have been left on the ship, yeah.
Darn, I can't whack my way out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'm stuck in the cell for a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that long. You're sort of, you wake up in the middle of the night, and there is a commotion, right? There's a big commotion, and you think it might have something to do with all that screaming that you heard earlier. In that, all of a sudden, there is a lot of shouting. You can hear heavy boots running down the hallway. And then what you hear, like, you don't hear it as much as feel it, is like a rumble. It's a rumble, and it's just like, and it shakes the whole room. And so you get up, and you kind of go to the sort of window to sort of see what's going on. Like the sort of door out into the hallway has a sort of porthole with, like bars on it, so you can see, but you can't see much. And there's a big commotion, and you can see that there's a fight going on. And what happens is someone ends up stopping, and they're going down door to door and unlocking every single cell and just letting the people out. And you go out into the hallway, and you can sort of see at the end of the hall is there's a big hole at the end of the hall that you can now see out into the night air. Are you gonna try and make a run for it? You planning on staying here and sort of testing your luck, or are you gonna try and make a run for it?
I mean, that's a pretty golden opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge, so yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
All right.
I'm getting out of here.
As you head out, and you head down, you realize you are actually quite high up. So, can you make? Are you gonna go and you're gonna try and escape out of here?
Yeah, I'm making a break for it. This is my prison break moment.
Okay. Now, can I get you to make a what would it be, an acrobatics check for me, please? With all that strength that you have.
Do. Should be Dex though.
It could be Dex.
Yeah, it's based on
All right, 17.
Hey.
That's pretty good. So you go and you
I'm
just
not gonna die.
you don't even stop, and you just like whew, out into the night air, and
I'm gone.
yep. So you land in the bay, and right away this is like the water's like 1 or 2 degrees, right?
So it's cold as hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but all in the bay is a series of rowboats, and you can see that people are getting plucked up out of the rowboats, and one very sort of gruff hand reaches down and picks you up and hauls you up in, and you can see that it's a dwarf. It's a dwarf with a red braided beard, and he says, "Is
How the dwarf managed to pick me up?
The dwarf is pretty strong."
6'2".
Yeah, but how much do you weigh?
I don't know. I think I said like 180 pounds. I'm quite slight.
I mean,
So okay, I guess I'm not that.
yeah. So the dwarf hauls you up out of the water and gets you in the rowboat and says, "I hope we need to get you somewhere warm because you're gonna get hypothermia." So, kind of gets in, and they row off towards the city and take you through to the sort of one of the first doors that you see, and the dwarf takes out a key and just puts it in, like, and it fits in, and opens up the door into what looks to be a very nice, warm, inviting room. So, ushers you in, and that is where we are going to stop that for right now.
Well, at least I'm somewhere warm,
You are somewhere warm.
thankfully, and not in a prison cell.
Now, last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Draco. Now, can you please thank you for your patience? I know it's you've been very patient for the last almost hour as we've introduced all the other characters.
Hey, we saved the best and the most beautiful for last.
We saved the best and most beautiful for last. And once you're all together, then it's going to roll a little bit more smoothly. Won't be as much downtime. So,
How does it make you feel, Aaron?
I mean, I said it, so.
No, it's absolutely fascinating listening to your characters. I wasn't bored at all. That was great.
So, why don't you give us a rundown of Mr. Barwich?
Okay, so Barwick.
Barwick, sorry.
Barwick. He is a halfling. Fairly typical halfling. His family history is his parents were slaves. They were used as like servants in a for a noble house in quite a nice town. He, with the help of other halflings with a higher status, his parents actually escaped, and they escaped to this village that's kind of along a trading route, and they set up there and had baby me. I have a very big aptitude for music.
Mm-hmm.
I have a strong sense of diplomacy and honor for my town. So I joined the local militia to help kind of defend ourselves, and I would play my inspiring music for the militia, which would help us bolster our defense.
Mm-hmm.
He then was asked by the village council and similar such people in the village to use my inspiring words to help bring more trade to the village and form alliances with other smaller villages. So that's what I've done in and around. And my next mission is to come to wherever you need me to go.
Yeah. What do we need Barwick for? So, I mean, your background is as a soldier. I mean, you like and in militias and sort of like rallying people and getting your hands dirty when they need to get dirty, right?
Yes, I'm not afraid of battle in any way. I didn't just play my my instruments.
That's right.
I definitely was in battle fighting.
Did you say what instruments you play?
I play the is it dulcimer?
It is the dulcimer. That's right.
Yeah. So that's, for those who don't know what a dulcimer is. It's like a I don't know if you remember like the old Robin Hood cartoon, and somebody played like a giant, almost like guitar with a big fat bass, kind of a thing.
If you can hear it, I put some dulcimer on in the background. Is that coming through?
It probably is for everyone that isn't us, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. I'll cut that.
And I also have a sham just to play when I don't. But I go through dulcimers often because I smack people with them.
That's right. Becomes a very expensive, expensive weapon. But
yeah, so I don't treat my instruments very well. That's for sure.
And
it's my talent that I tend to rely on. I'm very proud of my talent, and when there's somebody that's more talented than me, I get very jealous.
So a sham, for those who don't, it's sort of like a precursor to the oboe. It's like when you picture someone like a snake charmer kind of thing, you know, like
one of those.
Yeah, I didn't have any sham queued up. I did, but I'd have to take a second to go look for it. But the shawm is this, it's a picture like an oboe or a clarinet or something of that, like a more obviously less sophisticated, I should say. So Barwick comes to Luskin probably as part of a militia guarding a caravan. Like this would be probably the end of the road, and he's gonna either look for work here or probably with winter coming along, think about trying to hitch a ride back south. Now, the general sort of sense of the general sort of sense is that if you're going to stick around, there's something that I think most everybody, like definitely Fang, definitely River, and definitely you, Barwick, would all know about Luskin, and it's that it's run the sort of like it's like a mercantile city where and it's run by these people, like they call them the ships. So it's these ships of and each ship isn't just one ship, it's like an organization, and these organizations sort of like have a hierarchy in power, and they're responsible for different things. So if you wanted to stick around in town, and this is sort of what ends up happening, is that you are out at a tavern drinking one night, and a couple of people who represent one of the ships are coming, and they sit down with you and they say, you know, Mr. Barwick, we've heard great things about you, and we think that we would have some use of your services.
Well, I have many services. You're going to need to be a little more specific about what you like. Would you like me to sing you a tale, or would you like me to guard your caravan?
Well, I don't see those things as altogether separate. So we represent ship Souljack, and our ships are going through what we would see as a little bit of a morale problem.
Can I do a knowledge check or something along the lines of knowing anything about that ship?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
would that be? I guess that would be history, or maybe. Let me take a look here. Oops, that is not the one that I want. Have a few hiccups with setting up the screens that we will fix for next time, and we're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna roll with it. So let me look at your skills. We could see. Yeah, history or maybe insight. I think probably history would be the one that would be closest as to the sort of
Sure.
nature of your relationship with these people.
Okay.
Yep.
So I got 15.
15. So you know that their ship Souljack is sort of like the third most powerful ship. And it would carry with it like a lot of prestige to come along with this. Now, before they get so that's the kind of sense you know that if you joined up with this organization, you'd be middle of the pack. You wouldn't be doing the lowest sort of like scuzziest jobs, but you also do know that ship Souljack is responsible for most of the piracy and other sort of like the nefarious kind of stuff that goes on with the ships, and they are known to do some pretty nasty things, especially with the people that they capture.
Okay. Okay. So, what would ship Souljack have an interest in a lowly bard from a outskirts town?
Oh, well, Mr. Barwick, the sort of issue that we're coming up against is we have a lot of people that we've been capturing, and what with the plague and everything else, it's very seriously impacted our ability to process them. And some of the people that we've hired have not necessarily been up to the task. They don't have the stomach for it. Now, you kind of get a sense that at what they're hinting at. You're hinting at. um, so
I'm just letting them talk right now.
yeah, and they're saying, like, if you took this job, we would need you to be fine with certain aspects of the profession, and there's a lot of things that go into it. We're interested in your interpersonal skills. We're interested in your ability to hopefully turn a blind eye to some of the stuff that you see. Um, Now, has anything that we've said sort of interested you so far?
Sounds like your offer might be better suited to a rogue. I don't know. I'm not into taking people's limbs. I like to keep them intact. That's what I prefer.
Well, it's in our interest to keep them intact as well, because you see, intact people fetch a much higher price. And I think at that, as soon as he started mentioning the fact that they were sort of selling people,
Yeah.
would key you off just a little bit.
Uh, I'm unfamiliar with your trade. This don't need to buy people. This face here gets what it needs. Okay. And I can tell you that I think what you do is disgusting.
Well, that is most disappointing, and you do see we approached you specifically because we thought you could help us out, but
Yeah, it's not the first time.
yeah, but we also have a sort of issue in that we can't necessarily just let you leave if you don't take our offer. This is, I don't know, I don't mean to dip too much into cliche, but this is a sort of, if you can take it or you can leave it. And he kind of like hints that, and you can sort of see one of them puts his hand and is going down like sort of under his cloak, and the other one sort of tenses up a little bit.
Uh, okay. Um, can I make an intimidation check?
Definitely.
Okay.
Crit.
Okay. Natural 20. So 26 is my roll. I
So how do you intimidate them?
yeah. So I take a small dagger and I place it underneath my hand on the table. No, it wouldn't fit underneath my halfway hand. I place it under the on top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't look them in the eye and I say, this dagger can do things to you that you could never imagine. And I know the field of work that you're in. But if you would like to play with me, I can tell you you're going to lose.
And I mean, right off the bat, they kind of like the one of them stands up and kind of like takes a step back, and I don't think, I mean, these are humans that you're dealing with, and I don't think that they've ever felt scared of a halfling before. before right now, but there's something about that sort of look in their eyes, and they say, okay, well, yeah, I hope that you understand exactly the mistake that you're making, because you are going to make a powerful enemy.
And then I turn to them and I smile and say, if you would like any trade deals, give me a call. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So when
and I just go back to sitting and
and
drinking.
So they get that look about them, and they say, okay, well, you've made your choice, and I hope that you have the ability to live with it. And they get up and they leave, and very you go about, like having another drink or two, and you sort of can you give me a perception check, please? What's going on with this?
Seems like my drink is going to my head. I got a 6.
Okay. I wonder what is that updating. I'm looking at the is that actually updating in the window for people to see in the stream?
It is not. Llama just pointed that out.
Oh, okay.
It's updating like just fine on the Roll20 website, but
Yeah, I'm looking at
It
that
still
too.
shows
Like,
my
it didn't
rolls.
it didn't show any of yours, Draco.
yeah.
If you're capturing it in your window's not scrolling down for some reason. Maybe try pulling the scroll bar all the way down to the bottom so it auto pulls down.
How's that?
Like on the right-hand side.
There, it looks like
There
it's,
it is.
There it is.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Or maybe it won't update if it's not your active window. I don't know. Sometimes that stuff happens.
Maybe.
OBS is weird that way.
Yeah.
It's still better than XSplit, but
Okay, so you aren't exactly paying attention to your surroundings, like you've kind of done your thing, you feel like you've said your piece. At the same time, you are now looking at how you're focused on your drink, you're focused on your food, and that's why you don't necessarily notice when this very sort of gruff looking dwarf sits down at the table in front of you and says, "Hi, Master Barwick." Kind of gets your attention.
I am so popular today. How can I help you, sir?
Well, my name's Marcus Forgefist. I saw how you dealt with those ruffians.
I'm sorry.
Forge Fist? That's
Marcus
literally
Forgefist.
my response.
Forgefist. My daddy's name, and it was my granddaddy's name, and my great-granddaddy's name, and my great-great-great-granddaddy's name, and he's just like, you can tell that this is a drunk dwarf who sat down at your table and is super thrilled with you.
That's quite the dwarven accent there, sir.
Seems fantastic.
Yarr.
That accent is not going to keep up because that's terrible. So I'm just going.
All dwarves are Scottish. We know this.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So, he says, Mr. Barwick, I'm actually quite impressed by how you turned down that job offer. Bunch of scum, these Souljack swine.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not that desperate and hard up to ruin other people's lives.
Mm-hmm. So, I may have a counter business proposal for you. We've been noticing that ship Souljack is getting more and more involved in slaving. And based on what I saw, I'm hoping that you might be able to work with us to help put a curb to it.
Okay.
The price will definitely be right. We have a very, very rich patron who's going to be bankrolling this operation, and I'm hoping that maybe you could come with me and we could sit down and discuss it further.
And where would this discussion take place?
Oh, at her place. It's cross town. It won't take us that long to get there. In fact, I happen to have a key that will get us there right quick.
Toot sweet.
Toot sweet,
So,
indeed.
I'm not super trusting of him.
Right, as you should be.
I'm guessing that would be, what, an insight roll?
Yeah, insight. Let's see insight.
And yeah, it didn't update on this stream.
So it doesn't update unless it's active. And then, see this, and just stepping out, my frustration happens to be
Yeah, I see
that
yeah,
when
you
I
have so
when I
many
bring it up,
screens.
it's sort of I made a mistake with the screen capture, guys. I made a mistake.
That's okay. We're only human. But are we dancer?
So insight there.
That's a very specific
so then,
reference.
So I rolled a 10 on insight.
So then that updated there. So 10 on insight. You definitely get the sense that he's being sincere, based on what you can tell. That
Okay.
this guy is I mean, as drunk as he is, he's kind of articulated a pretty clear point about his intentions.
Okay. Um, I ask him. I say, what can your patron do for my town if I decide to come with you?
Well, I'm sure that based on the amount of gold that you're going to be earning, fighting pirates happens to be very lucrative work and actually quite well respected. So if you happen to uh, come and engage and do your job and come back with the treasure and your life, I'm sure that you would be able to pass the savings on to your puny little village wherever you're from.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. What treasure are you talking about? I thought we were stopping slavers.
Well, yeah, but
Are you asking me to steal from pirates?
I
Those are
am.
different tasks.
How you're going to get paid is by killing the slavers and taking their money. Does that sound like something that you can do?
I'm interested. I haven't committed, but I'll
Haven't
go with you.
interested, haven't committed. Would you be willing to at least sit down with my benefactor and talk about it further?
Let's do that.
Okay. So you go with Marcus, and takes you back, and rather than so you exit out of the tavern that you're at. You take a left, and right at that first door, he pulls out that key and he puts it in the lock, and it slides in and it opens up, and it's a very warm and sort of inviting atmosphere on the inside. And following him in there.
I thought you said it was across town.
Oh, it is, but this is a very powerful thing. Makes like what's that saying? Dumathoin doesn't close a door without opening a window.
Is, is this a is this a
It's like a port key.
is it
It
a
is.
port key?
It's
Yeah.
very much
Okay.
like that, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a stranger of magic.
Just some country
Uh,
bumpkin who's never seen a magic artifact. Huh?
I don't know. I touch people and their wounds heal. One more. Let's sing
My
it. Though.
singing makes people feel weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Just imagine like singing right at somebody's gashed leg. Yeah.
Feel better.
Okay. I follow him.
Okay.
But I'm cautious. I let him go first.
All right. And at that note, so you go in, close the door, and at that note, we are actually just going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break while I go grab a drink of water, and everyone else can quickly just take a
Stretch break.
stretch break, and we'll go from there. So thank you, everybody, and we'll pick up a meeting with this mysterious benefactor soon. All right. Thank you.
Sweet.
Perfect.
And go team.
And
Go
scene.
team. Break.
Okay, and we are back. Thank you everybody for patience while we got through that break. I
Oh, that screen transition is just perfection.
Is
thank
Needs
you.
more star wipe.
Star wipe would be nice. I got a spiral. I got a spiral wipe we can use.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I
Not
wanted to
as
take,
much of a Simpsons reference, but that's okay.
I wanted to take a quick second just to thank some of the followers we got. We got Foggy Dog. I got Jem. Thank you, Jem, for the follow. Zebo.
ASDFJK.
Has followed. Llama, Bryce, thank you for the host, and Copper S for the follow. So thank you, everybody. I know I'm been focused on running the game, so I haven't been. I'll be doing the shoutouts at the breaks. So thank you very much.
Don't worry, I got you.
Oh,
That yes.
would now be a good time to plug the Discord?
Oh yeah. I have a command actually.
The D&D Discord of Doom.
Yes.
If we go Discord. Just like that. Crazy Don 1233. Thank you for the follow. All right. That being said, why don't we jump in here now? And so we could go actually and start with having River now come and sort of. I think you were the only person who, at the end of it, didn't have a weren't actually there. You were saying that you were going to show up there. So why don't we start off there? You go to walk up to the door, and you kind of are you doing anything on the way? Are you just gonna go? You're gonna. Show
I
up?
think I'm just gonna head there because I don't really have anything else to do right now.
Okay. So that being said, we can you boom 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 sort of knock on the door, and right off the bat you have
The door, baby. Sorry.
It's
I keep
okay.
forgetting you guys can actually hear me too.
You're not the bard. Stop singing.
That's my job.
And I imagine you have a lovely singing voice, Draco.
Oh no, I don't. It's like what happens when Hilo jumps on my desk. But it's fun to play something that you aren't in real life.
That's exactly it. So,
I'm kind of halfling.
opening up the door is someone who kind of sees you sort of eye to eye. It's like I said, the same description of this sort of elderly wizard, gnomish wizard with the kind of, you can picture Doc Brown from Back to the Future, kind of like wiry sort of white hair that sticks out in all directions, with the big thick like metal worked glasses with like Coke bottle lenses in it, and says, oh, please come in. We've been expecting you. You're the last one to arrive.
All right, I'm just gonna walk in.
All right. So as you come in, what the sort of to sort of paint you a picture is, if you picture what like a book hoarder's house looks like, like there's bookshelves, and the bookshelves go floor to ceiling, and there's books and books, and then in between the shelves and scattered all along the floor as well, there's like books and scrolls and manuscripts, and all of the table space is full of maps and charts and other stuff, and you're just kind of get this sense that this person is a bit of a recluse, a bit of a hoarder, and it kind of like ushers you through, and the room itself, it's got like stoneworked arch ceilings, and on one end is like a big sort of fireplace, and around it you see an elven woman who's wrapped in blankets trying to get warm by the fire. It looks elven, but maybe not so much. You can probably guess half elf. But
Can I have my hood up during this?
If you made that assumption, you definitely can, Fang, for sure. You see a much taller humanoid person sort of in a chair with their hood sort of packed up, and they're sort of sitting there cross-armed like that. Yes, much like that, exactly.
Kind of turned away with like a
Uh-huh.
a cup or something.
And then you have a armored, like a splint mail armored dwarf with a hat, like an armored helm, and quite possibly the biggest maul that you've ever seen strapped to its back. So you can see the head of this gigantic maul. Does everybody know what a maul is?
I think so, yeah.
It's one of. Is it on the chain?
No, a maul is like, picture a sledgehammer and then take the head of the sledgehammer and like increase it by like 500%.
Oh, okay.
Big ass hammer.
A big ass hammer. And and he's kind of sitting back to sort of like the kind of like leaning against the wall, against a stack of books, kind of keeping an eye on things. And the wizard that you see, she kind of like is scurrying ahead, and she's fussing with a platter of silverware and pouring out tea for people. And she comes over and she starts checking on Islwyn and say, "Oh, are you starting to get warmed up? And how's everything going?" And that sort of nattering that way. And Barwick is just kind of sitting there, just, I can imagine, just taking in the scene in the chair, you know, like kind of what on earth have I got myself into, kind of thing, you know. And it is one of those, you know, like, I'm sure you're all wondering what you're doing here kind of moments, right? And
Yep.
she says, it's long past my introduction. My name is Mazzy Duran, and I am interested in your services. All of you I have chosen specifically for a very, very important purpose. And I'm hoping that as I explain everything, things will become a little bit more clear. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want cookies, or anybody need more tea? How is everybody doing?
I kind of just look up at her, like, kind of like shrink back in my chair a little bit and have like this quizzical face.
I mean, I like cookies. What kind of cookies are we talking here, lady?
Yeah, I'm with this half elf here.
I have a name. If you would
I
ask.
don't know what it is yet, my dear. What is your name?
You can call me Aylwin.
Sure. Half elf is much easier for me to say.
Getting static.
The sass on this little one.
So as you are all sort of getting to know each other, Mazzy is gonna scurry off back to the kitchen, which is on the other side, and through a door, and says, "Oh, I think I've got just the thing for everybody. I've got some nice ginger snaps." And heads off, and as she's out, you kind of you look over, and Marcus is sitting there. Marcus is the red bearded dwarf. He's the one who was talking with Barwick. He pulled Aylwyn out of the water and provided River with the instruction to come. And he's
Guy's everywhere. Jesus.
He is. He's kind of the bodyguard for Mazzy.
What was his last name again?
Forge Fist.
The badass last name.
I don't think I met Marcus yet.
Nope,
At least.
I mean, you met him obviously when you came in, and
Right.
you were the first person to get here, so you would have been introduced. And he's standoffish, he's gruff, he's there to make sure that you're not gonna steal, you're not gonna wreck stuff. He's kind of keeping an eye on things, and when he sees you look at him, the kind of look that he gives you is kind of like this is pathetic. Like, he's looking at you with like all of you with a little bit of disdain. Right?
The sort of like, this is the best you could do.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's
So this is the guy with the giant warhammer, right?
Yeah, the giant hammer. Yeah, for sure. And he's kind of held back. And is there anything that you guys want to talk about while you wait?
You said there was tea, right?
There is tea. The tea is there. It is a
Alright.
nice, sweet, aromatic kind of herbal tea.
River's gonna
Yes.
grab a cup and just dump sugar into it and drink it.
Okay. Was the half elf, that wasn't the one that scurried back to the kitchen, or was that the one that scurried back in the kitchen?
Oh, that was the gnome.
That was the gnome. Yeah. So was the woman still sitting there?
No, she's you can hear her fussing in the kitchen, like
Okay.
jars are clattering and plates and stuff, and she's quite busy. Yeah.
Okay. And the woman that was sitting by the fire?
That would be Aelwyn.
Me.
Oh, you're sitting by the fire.
Yeah,
Mhm.
warming up. She's still wrapping
Oh.
blankets. And,
Yeah, because I was fished out of the water and I'm probably still hypothermic. So
I go up to the guy. I said, "What? No smile for us? We're here to see you."
I don't try and get attached to people until I've seen them back a few times.
seen them back a few times. That sounds.
I rotate in a
Positive.
circle. I rotate in a circle a couple of times. Mike, you see my back 3 times.
Yeah, I found with Mazzy's work, it's not best to get attached to people.
I kind of glance over and pull up my hood a little bit to look at Marcus, like,
And
kind of give him the look,
just
like, are you
then-
serious?
Yeah, and just then Mazzy comes back and she's like, "Who wants cookies?" And comes in and she's like very super thrilled to finally have everybody here. And it's like she's like, "This is great news. We have another group of people. They're ready to go."
Another group of people? What happened to
Oh,
the
don't-
previous groups of people?
Don't worry about that. It was a freak accident. It's gonna work this time. It's gonna work this time.
Oh,
Trust me.
boy.
Are we sending a package? Is the motto like your package is expendable, our staff is not? Like, what is this?
So this is so she's talking and she says when the Arcane Brotherhood came back to Luskin nigh on now 8 or 10 years, they promised to stay out of the affairs of people. I know because I used to work there. I was in the Arcane Brotherhood, and unfortunately, over the last little while, over the intervening few years, they've started meddling in the affairs of Luskin again. They've started working with all of the ships and trying to get people. Well, I'm sure Aelwyn, based on your experience, how did you feel about the Arcane Brotherhood?
Were those the people who had me locked in the tower?
Those are the people that had you locked in the tower.
I mean, they did feed me, but they also wanted to basically use me as a flu bomb?
Goldilocks. That's what I'm gonna call you. Goldilocks.
Goldilocks.
That's still more syllables than Aelwyn!
It didn't have to be a short nickname.
Semantics.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had me locked in a tower once the ship I was on arrived, and I can understand precautions. You know, we started with, crew of 100 and several hundred refugees, and I think when we got here, there was like me and a couple other dudes. So, I can consider it looks bad, but they didn't have to lock me in a tower and basically use me as an experiment. If you live, we're gonna use you for something, and if you die, well, yeah. So.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm not a fan.
Yeah, and this is just a symptom. This is only one example. They've started to put their greasy little fingers in the affairs of all kinds of extremely bad stuff. Now, and she's looking now at you, Barwick. She's saying specifically, we sort of know that they've in the unfortunate passing of a very powerful pirate warlord, they've moved into the sort of power vacuum that's been created, and they're trying to exert force. And what that means is a lot of pain for a lot of very, very disadvantaged people. And I am hoping that we can work together to try and put a stop to it.
Well, how the concern I have about this is not so much the task, but the risk.
And that's completely understandable. And that's why I'm hoping that the compensation that you receive will be more than adequate.
What are we talking?
Well, I am willing to say party keeps 80% of everything you find, and you give me 20. I have my own expenses to keep up.
I think 80% is more than generous. It's more than what I usually get.
I'm bad at math. What does that leave the rest of us with once we divide the 80%?
20 each.
20 each.
Thanks, because I legitimately thought it was 25. So
25.
What's your intelligence again?
clearly not high enough. Look, it's a different type of intelligence. Okay, I'm like street smart, book dumb.
Okay.
But I say that amount of payment is adequate. I'm going to need money to fund my research into a cure, so yes. Count me in.
I'm getting you the contract.
Contract.
We can make that work. So we have Aowen and River have both said yes. Mr. Fang, Mr. Selmick, do you have any concerns about this?
Trying to think of what I want to say. And whenever Elwin said research for a cure to what was the infection?
We call it dwarf pox, but
dwarf
apparently
pox.
someone enlightened me that it's also known as elf herpes, and that's not nice. My people are clean, fastidiously clean.
My interest kind of peaked at when she said elven pox, and she's researching for a cure. And what's going through my mind is that maybe I can do something with that if the money can help fund some kind of research like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's gotten my interest.
Okay.
Not necessarily the taking people down with a giant maul, but because I'm still like reveling over the fact that I just killed a man. So
yeah, not terribly in character.
So what is your connections with trade lords and other ships?
Well, you see, and this is where she starts to, where she looks down, and she starts like she opens up the front of her robe, and she starts saying like, "No, I'm getting there. I'm gonna tell them. Why don't you just leave it? Just give me a second." And she says, "I happen to have a little bit of a trick up my sleeve that will keep us one step ahead."
Sleeve or bra? What are you doing?
Yeah, why is
what's going on in here? So she pulls out this chain, and it's on this sort of long silver chain, and at the end of the chain is this gigantic. Well, it looks like an opal, but it's a little bit translucent, and she says, "This is our ace in the hole," and it said, "This is what's going to keep us one step ahead."
What is it?
Okay. Have fun. And she says, during my time with the Arcane Brotherhood, we didn't always pair up with pirates, thieves, and other extremely disgusting people. At one point in time, we fought for good. And one of the most notorious pirate warlords. I went toe to toe, and I captured him in this, and holds up the opal, and you can kind of see like through the translucent thing is the face of this guy, and he looks pissed. And he's saying, this man's operations all throughout the Northland have been co-opted by the other ships in Luskan and by the Arcane Brotherhood. Now he, unwillingly, to be sure, has provided me with a lot of information as to where to go. Now, we have a lot of leads and some things that we can check out. And we also know a few things that may give us the upper hand. And that's why I'm saying where my previous ill-advised sort of parties had failed, I have much, much more confidence that I've assembled a better crew this time. It's going to be able to get the job done.
Your captured pirate sounds a lot like a 4-year-old.
A petulant 4-year-old
Yeah.
at that.
The 4-year-old is going swimming. So they're taking him out of the house.
Well, at least that poor 4-year-old who was in the cell next to me got out and got what he needed.
Yeah. So, Mr. Barwick, in answer to your question about what's my connection, I want to take these bastards down.
So what? So, the little kid in your pendant is butthurt about it, but what are you in it for?
You see, when I was forced out of the Arcane Tower, it wasn't exactly on good terms. And I've been angry about
Can I make
how
a
I was treated.
Can I make a perception check to see if I can read her face
Yeah, that'd be insight and definitely.
or insight? Yeah.
You can see her face; she's right there.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, but just to understand if like this is like if she's telling the truth, what's like trying to understand that. So it's insight.
Yep. That is 18.
Mm-hmm. So what can I like pick up from her facial cues?
You definitely get the sense that she's telling the truth. She's hurt. She is angry about what's happened. She doesn't feel like she's been treated fairly, and probably very genuinely wants to exact some retribution against people who've wronged her.
I think this
Retribution.
would really sway my decision into joining, but I want to hold on for just a little bit longer to see if she has anything else to say.
You're holding up for the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to make a more informed decision.
If you can agree to assist in bolstering the trade for my city once this mission is over,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the 20%, then I'm in.
Well, you drive a hard bargain. What exactly are you looking for? You looking for some assistance in getting like trade goods, material goods to your city?
I want the main road to be pushed towards my city, my town. Main road between, and then I don't know, name two big major cities,
Got
right?
it. Yeah. So you need
I
more
want-
access.
I want more opportunity to sell the goods in our town.
Well, as much as it's in my power to do these things, I will do my best to assist you. I do still happen to have the ear of some of the merchants in town here. Not everyone has been turned against me. So, and I'm sure as we attempt to expose some of the work that I don't think people fully understand, I think if people knew what they were up to, that we would be able to increase our stock and make people sort of believe us and get a sense about, you know, and in that way we should be able to make that work for you. At least take some of the funds that we're earning and get like a work crew going to build the road.
I mean,
I think it's a good deal. Goldilocks' opinion.
the specifics don't need to be hashed out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But your word is what I will rely on, and we can discuss afterwards. And if I feel that it's not met, we'll have to talk about that later.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a deal, and I think, and especially when she's turning to River, and she says, "You are gonna have to meet with my clerk tomorrow, and they'll hash out all of the details. I understand that you need it in writing, so the clerk will be by, and in the meantime, I'm hoping that we can start discussing the particulars of this of the first outing."
Oh, you need a clerk? Oh, well, I can help with that. And I pull out my diplomacy kit
Mm-hmm.
in my bag. I set it down.
Yeah.
I open it up. Quill,
Pen,
seal,
paper, everything.
and paper, all
She's just
that.
all prepared, like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm here to make deals.
Does Barwick have experience writing up business contracts?
Yeah, because
Alright.
that's what he does. Like, he would have come to town and then tried to make some business contracts with
Mhm.
merchants to come to the city, to his town.
Okay. I think everyone at this point, you know, on your character sheets in Roll20, can you tick off your inspiration? I think everybody so far has acted within the realms of their character. So now, between now and I think it's once per adventuring day, you can get you can use your inspiration to take advantage on a roll.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Or River, are you comfortable with Barwick drawing up a contract for us?
As long as your seal is on the contract, the guild will be happy with it. It doesn't matter who writes it up.
Okay. And with that, I think it's time that we talk about the particulars of what I have in plan. So, we have word that there is and it was, at one point, it was a storehouse that is stashed in the foothills northeast of Luskin, served as a waypoint for the raiders that preyed upon caravans that headed down from 10 towns. Hello, Jade. Hello. Sorry, my puppy came in.
This is now a puppy stream.
Yeah, it was waypoint for the raiders, preyed upon the caravans heading south from 10 towns in Icewind Dale, as well as it was sort of like a secondary storehouse outside of Luskin for to store the sort of pirate treasure. And when she turns to you and she sort of says, it's definitely, and based on the information that I have, at least at the time that I captured the Baron, it should be absolutely rich with sweet pirate booty. And
Hopefully not literal.
that's right. Also literal. Now, and she says that was, of course, a long time ago, and I have no idea what state it's in now, but it's definitely worth investigating. I'll provide all of the provisions, including horses and rations and everything else that you'd need, and I'll try my best to assist you with any other kinds of logistical things that might happen along the way. Now, this particular storehouse is about a day and a half ride northeast of Luskin, and as she's talking, she can sort of look here, and I'll pull up the the map to see Luskin, and you can sort of see along that Blackford Road into the foothills of the Spine of the World Mountains. This is sort of where in the area that you're going to be sort of looking, and she has pretty detailed instructions about where to go, and feel like there's a good chance that you'll be able to get there before the night of the second day.
Seems pretty typical.
Mm-hmm.
Works for me. Once I'm finally warm, still a little chilly. That water was cold.
I nod my head.
Mr. Barwick, is this acceptable?
Yep.
All right. How soon do you think that you'd need to leave? Do you have anything else that you need to do in town?
This is what I've come to do. More bound.
All right.
All I need is that contract written up, and I need to give it to my contact, and then I'm free to do whatever.
I mean, I'm more than happy to sit here and wait, but I would also like to maybe explore, stock up on provisions and other things we'll need for a couple days' ride.
Yes, of course. I understand that they took most of your belongings when you were imprisoned. So if you'd be so kind as to go with Marcus, he should be able to get you outfitted with weapons and adventuring gear and anything else that you'd need.
Works for me.
Perfect. So we will sort of fast forward selector like through the through all of the gearing up and contract writing, because I'm sure it would be super riveting coming up with all of the terms of the specific contract and clauses. Whereas we, the undersigned, have decided that
Shall forth normally known as Party A.
That's right. All goods and sundries to be divided, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, I think like the basic, like the TLDR is like a basic guild contract would be that, I'm promised my pay, the guild gets 10% of whatever I'm paid, yada yada yada, because they have to make their money too. If I should die before the contract is fulfilled, then the person who has taken out the contract won't come to the guild demanding compensation for the failure of the hunter, etc.
All right, we can put all that in there. It's all whatever terms we come up with that are deemed acceptable. So you head out, and it's an early morning, and you can definitely feel that brisk onset of fall, and especially in this part of the world, you would have taken time to get extra provisions for maybe some furs to wear, especially as you go up through the foothills. Now, the foothills outside of Luskin, and especially in the Spine of the World Mountains, this is not a very safe place to be going through, right? So there's a certain amount of caution and care that goes into that goes into adventuring. So I'm wondering about this is probably not Barwick's obviously first go on an adventuring ride, neither Rivers. Fang and Iowin, how are you both feeling being a part of this adventuring group that's sort of struck out now?
Well, I've been places myself to do my research, and I spent a lot of time, especially whenever I was learning how to do archery, I spent a lot of time in the woods and amongst nature, so it's not particularly discomforting to me, but it's just very strange to travel with other people in these kinds of environments.
Okay.
I think I'm a good combination of nervous and apprehensive, but excited because this is what, I wanted to do. One of the reasons why I wanted to leave Evermeet and explore
Mm-hmm.
is to literally go on a quest. And here I am, like a couple weeks after leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my quest. So I'm excited that I've sort of found what I wanted, but apprehensive because I don't really know these people. We've had like a nice tense 3-hour hangout with ginger snaps and tea. But we're, I don't know, can I trust all these little shorties? What about the dude with like the hood and he's all brooding? Like I'm still not sure how much, how much do I trust these people yet? But we at least all have one common goal, so I can at least trust in that.
It is a motley crew. You're not wrong. So, you very quickly leave Luskin behind, riding, and the day goes pretty uneventfully. Nearer to Luskin, what you're sort of seeing is a lot of people streaming towards the city on the road. Lots of caravans and they could be sort of seen as almost like refugees, right? Like people who are just sort of coming down the road trying to find a place like Luskin to take shelter for the winter. There is a lot of things in the wilderness, and Fang, you would know this and have experience navigating around things like Yeti and the various kinds of dangerous wildlife that are in this part of the world, and the kind of thing that make roughing it on a frontier sort of settlement quite dangerous over the wintertime. So you do see a lot of people who sort of overwinter in Luskin to try and then they'll go back to their homes during the thaw, especially the smaller settlements. So that's a lot of what you're seeing on the road. You're seeing a lot of really unhappy people because they had to leave their homes and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You get to a point and you get to the marker and the milestone on this sort of the directions that Mazzy has given you, and now you're sort of striking off the road, like up into the hills, and that's sort of where you get to at the end of the day, and you start to think about maybe it's a good time to set up for camp. So I'm wondering about, like, does anybody have any specific kind of rituals that they do as they're getting ready for the evening? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing as you're sort of winding down for the day?
I'm going to write in my journal.
I think I just... Oh, sorry, you go first.
Practice my my instruments, playing some music, seeing what damage I've done to it, and seeing if I need to buy myself a new one by swinging it around, probably hitting people with it, not caring.
That's right.
I probably just as a, I guess, sort of routine whenever I'm not sleeping, like in a hotel, or not a hotel, like an inn or like anything like that. Like whenever I'm camping,
this isn't the Four Seasons.
I was gonna say we're not at a Holiday Inn Express here.
No, yeah. No, like whenever, like, setting up camp or whatever, I'd probably just do a quick walk around to the perimeter, make sure there isn't anything immediately wrong with the area.
Okay. Can you give me
probably gather wood.
Can you give me a nature check, please?
You should let me do that because mine's better, probably.
I'm more used to the urban stuff.
Yeah, with that roll, I would say yes.
Oh Lord.
You're gonna just find a patch of poison ivy, aren't you? And just get it all.
Oh my god, I found these great herbs.
No. Oh god, my face is all full.
My face is on fire.
What are you checking for again?
I think he was checking.
I was just checking the perimeter to see, like, make sure that it's a decent enough camping spot, and I was also gonna gather firewood.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know what happened to the roll window there, but oh gosh. Professional streaming.
That's okay.
Technical difficulties in my stream?
It's more common than you'd think. Okay.
Well, it's hard to see it all in action when you don't have when you're not streaming. Like it'll look fine on OBS and then you actually see it on the screen and you're like, "Oh, that looks like poop."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, technical difficulties are fine. It's not an Aaron stream if there's not something going wrong.
So, but
Yeah.
we had your 8 roll there, and so yeah. Does anybody else like? I know that Aaron, you said Islewin, you said that you're quite adept with nature, and I think Fang as well have also. So if anyone else wants to try their hand at looking around and sort of seeing what's going on, I would allow.
Yeah,
that.
I'm like I clearly don't have too much experience with setting up camp out in the middle of the woods and those sorts of things, but I am very familiar with nature and trees and bushes and what's edible and what isn't, and those sorts of things. So I too would want to maybe leave River to collect firewood for us, but I would look around and see, is there anything provisioning wise that I can take? Berries, nuts, herbs for tea, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So do you want me to?
I would like for you to roll, yes. Oh! So Aaron rolls.
So she doesn't find deadly nightshade to make into tea.
Aaron rolls the 20 on her nature check. Now, for you, Islewin is new to this land, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, there are things. There's flora and fauna that's common between the two. Like there's things that you recognize that are edible, and there's definitely things like as River is sort of bumbling around trying to do his nature check. You go over and he's sort of picking up something and looking at it, and you just go over and you kind of swat his hand like, no, that is not good, not good. Like leave. No, and it's that sense of like you're not really very good with social stuff in this part of the world, and so,
I'm singing about this. I'm
yes, exactly.
singing about how
Don't you put it in your mouth.
I look over
ask
as
someone you love.
Ducky picks. I look over as Ducky picks up this herb, and
Ducky?
I'm sorry,
River.
as River. I'm sorry, I get River and Barwich confused. As River picks it up and Owen slaps it out of his
Well,
hand, I just
because
kind
they're
of
both
chuckle.
halflings? Jeez, that's
I was
racist.
gonna say it's because they're both halflings. They look the same to you, Fang. Is that what's going on?
You have to understand my confusion.
Listen, if your character's getting confused with mine, that is a very big compliment to yours.
That's true.
Oh.
I do have 9 charisma, so I don't know how you would confuse
Yeah,
this.
mine's double that. Mine's 18.
But anyway, as that happens, I kind of just chuckle to myself and keep writing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and as you're going around checking for stuff to forage and everything, you see that there's a certain amount of like animal scat and other stuff that is in the area. You don't get and it seems like it's older, but you get the sense that maybe you've decided to set up camp along a migratory route for some kind of animal.
Can I make a check to see if I recognize what left this?
Yes.
Oh no, wait, I'm still writing. Never mind.
I mean, you can if you'd like.
Would I have noticed this?
I
Do you think?
think that it depends on if Islewin's going to share it with the rest of the party.
Nope.
Poop.
I can see your smile. I can see that.
Well, I mean, again, if we're gonna be together for a while, it would be selfish to keep it to myself. But I
I
think
mean, I don't know what the conversation would be. Hey, look, I found some shit on the ground.
yeah. Poop.
Look at all this poop.
Poop in the forest.
Here.
I mean, maybe if you're like, whoa, this might be bear shit. Like, that's...
Yeah, then that answers the age-old question. They do, in fact, in the woods. Yeah, I will tell them because I know sort of our success is going to rely on us at least cooperating at the bare minimum, and I am lawful
Yeah,
neutral, so
the bear.
Yeah,
I
bringing
feel
along
it's
the
best.
bare necessities.
That's my
Oh,
next song.
So no, I'm gonna alert them to the fact that hey, this is fresh enough that maybe we should be concerned that something's bigger than us and might eat our faces off.
I mean, everything's bigger than me.
Can I make a check to see if I recognize what left this behind?
Definitely.
Okay. What kind of check would that be?
That would be nature.
Sure. Oh, I want the right roll. Okay.
Oh my god, that's a good roll.
Oh, and to keep him, just for the sake of balance, if you want to use your inspiration, let me know before you do the roll.
Okay.
So
No, I was just kidding. I was just saying.
yeah, no, that's fine. It's you look at it and you think that you can kind of narrow down the sort of type of animal this is. You think that it's not a carnivore. It's probably more of like an ungulate, like a hooved animal that left the droppings. So, not to say that like hooved animals aren't dangerous in this part of the world, but it's not like you see like brown bear prints or any other signs of like a big cat or something else that could be very dangerous for you.
Right. So I repeat this information to everyone kind of like low and mumbly. It's like I'm pretty sure what I'm talking about, but these people I'm not too familiar with them, so I kind of repeat it kind of low. And I say, for the sake of safety, do you think it would be a better idea to move up a couple, not a mile, about maybe a mile or something, half a mile from where this was left?
Do we use imperial or metric in this land? I feel like you're outnumbered and you should use metric.
I am the token American, so don't worry.
So you're saying a few hundred meters, maybe a kilometer?
Yeah. Maybe a kilometer and a half.
Oh, I said meters and mile in the same sentence. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I make that suggestion to the group.
And knowing what I know about the limited amount I know about the creatures in this area, I certainly agree. It's probably safer for us if we don't want to run into any problems and actually get a good night's sleep. Before we get super settled, it's probably going to be safer if we all just, move up or move away from this spot a kilometer or so.
A kilometer?
Okay.
That is quite the distance.
One Neverwinter mile.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, you spend a bunch of time breaking down the camp, and by the time you sort of move up, further up into the foothills and start setting up again, it's dark now, and you're having a pretty difficult time finding a comfortable sort of place. The place that you were at worked pretty well. This place isn't as good. There's a lot more. Like as you get more and more up into the hills, like the easily defensible, lots of line of sight sort of things, they start to vanish, and it's more like big rises and sort of there's like a mesa and some very sharp valleys and that kind of stuff, and you're trying to find a decent enough place that's going to give you some shelter, so you get settled in, and by the time you do, it's pretty much pitch black. Are things like, are you going to be starting a fire? Who's going to be taking watches? Are you going to have a watch? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll have a watch.
Yeah, we should definitely have a watch.
I'll help.
I'll Rochambeau you for it. Who goes first?
So what's the order?
Well, who needs to have a length of interrupted sleep to meditate and pray to their gods? Nobody?
I don't think any of us. Yeah.
You don't have any divine people?
I
No,
mean, I have
I think
my.
we're all arcane casters.
Okay.
That are casters. I'm not a caster, so.
No, I
Well,
don't
I
think
do
anyone.
have my. Well, my Fae patron, but I don't know if I necessarily need to do like a nightly prayer for her. Not
What
unless
are
I
you? Sorry,
want to.
are you a druid?
No, I'm a sorcerer, but
That's
or
our.
sorry, warlock.
Oh yeah, so that's
But I have
warlock's like innate inside you. Yeah, it's not the same.
yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I can take first watch. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I'll take last watch. I'm usually an early riser, anyways.
I offer to take second watch because one, this was my idea to move up, and obviously we're in a less defensible position. So I offer to take second watch so that people can like get sleep or at least some sleep.
Okay.
All right. Well, whenever you are done, Fang, wake me up, and I will take over from you.
I nod my head and do whatever I need to do.
All right. I'm gonna go make myself something. Try and set up somewhere a little bit more comfortable to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm used to sleeping in rough quarters, but I've never had to sleep on the bare ground before.
So, I'm just gonna make a quick roll here, and we'll sort of see if anything. So that roll now will make sure I
Suddenly, a
get the right
chupacabra
one.
shows up.
3 harpies come flying down and skin you.
3 harpies. Yeah. So the first bit of the night goes pretty much uneventfully. You have like Fang. So you switch over. Each watch is about 2 hours long. A long rest is 8 hours of sleep, and you can take about 2 of that to like do watch over the course of the night and still gain the benefits. So first watch goes fine. Second watch, Fang, during your watch. So how are you doing anything in particular? Are you going out scouting, or is anything else of note while you're doing your watch?
I would say because this is a less defensible position, people or something may be able to sneak up on us. So I would have tried to find higher ground to try and keep an overview of our campsite.
Okay. So from your sort of vantage point, you do see lots of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of wildlife in this part of the world, and you see that there is, in particular, like a train of caribou that are going through the forest, and they have been known to bolt and trample and attack people, but you can sort of see that they're passing through. They're not really looking to aggro onto you, and and the rest of the night passes pretty much uneventfully. There wasn't anything in particular that took notice of you, luckily.
Yeah.
Thank you, 3 roll. And and we kind of go from there. And as you get up in the morning, you kind of everybody dons their armor again and sort of packs up the pack horses, and you guys are back on your way towards this sort of warehouse that Mazzy had been talking about. Now, as you're approaching, a few things become pretty apparent. One is that there's a lot of signs of activity, and people would know. Like everybody here, I mean, I don't know, Iowin, have you ever had an encounter with goblins? Like no goblins out in Evermeet, I don't think.
I remember hearing stories about them as a child, but I've never seen one in the flesh.
Yeah. So the things that you sort of see as you're going up, like the signs of goblin activity, would be crude sort of wicker totems that outline boundaries of territories. You see butchered animals and signs of campgrounds and big garbage bins and they just have this kind of like this. In particular, though, the thing that you're noticing would be these sort of like picture like a wicker man kind of totem, like a humanoid with that has sort of like animal hair and sinew and meat, and it's all rotting and this sort of stuff. And these are nailed up against trees, and you know that these are sort of traditionally used to mark out territory and act as warnings for people as they're coming into sort of territory. As you get closer, and you can start to see that in the in a bluff face there is some stonework that's there. There's a door, like a sort of big facade, and then it comes down, and there is a sort of a big wooden door that's closed, and then all around the front of the door, as you sort of start to get closer, you see more of these signs like sharpened stakes and heads on pikes and that kind of stuff. Like the real, you know, like this is looking like it
Very subtle. Very subtle
it probably has been taken over by a pack of goblins.
Okay.
And at this time, you see over to the, I guess it would be, you're looking north at this bluff face, so over to the west, you start to see something scurrying along the rock. And it's a humanoid creature that's on its hands and legs, and it's sort of like trying to make its way down the hill.
Oh boy. All I can think of is the noise goblins make in ESO, which is blah, 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 blah.
I mean, that's probably
hear.
accurate.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
I mean,
I think
it's that.
I think River, as soon as they see this, is just gonna draw both of their swords and just like get ready.
Mm-hmm.
How fast is this creature making its way toward us?
I mean, it's not necessarily making its way towards you. It's making its way down the hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about 60 to 80 feet to the west of you, and you can sort of see it. And if you would think that if you just left it, it would probably pass you by.
I walk parallel to it towards where the cliff would be down the hill, and I kind of look to see if I can see anything more that it might be heading towards.
Can you give me a perception check, please?
I can. Hey, Goldilocks, you want to come and look with me?
Why do you think I have better perception than you?
Mine's minus
It's
one.
possible that. What do your elf eyes see?
I got 14.
All right, well, I'll come along with you and see what I can scout out.
I'm
I'd say
meant to
that's
be heard,
14
not
and-
seen.
14 and 17. So you can see that this is a human woman. And it's a human woman. She looks to be on the older side of middle age. She is not wearing anything. And she is covered in scrapes and cuts, and she is hightailing it, trying to get down the hill.
And
all right.
is there
Naked
anything
lady
we can see?
covered in light injuries and booking it down the hill.
Yes.
And is
Okay.
there
Is there something chasing her? Can I see anything following her?
is
Or
she heading
No.
towards somewhere?
She looks like she's trying to get away.
Okay.
I mean,
Wait, what is my alignment? Hold on.
so like, do we save her? Or do we leave her? I mean, I
I kind of call out to her
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
in my sing-songy voice.
yoo-hoo, what you doing?
Naked old lady, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. So as
And I kind of start moving towards her.
okay, as you get her attention, and she looks at you and like a deer in headlights. She is absolutely terrified. And at that moment where she sees like a halfling and Who is it? Just you going over to her, Barwick?
I mean, well, Elwyn and I walked to the kind of the edge of the
Okay.
look down. So she's probably closer to me than the other two are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'll come along too.
Okay. And as
I could see I was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one who noticed her anyway.
So I think she notices that friend or foe, you're at least not goblins. So
Okay.
while she doesn't continue running down the hill, she doesn't make any move, and she just sort of curls up into a ball.
I just slowly make my way towards her,
Okay.
just at a very continual, steady pace. But I do put my hand on my rapier.
Just in case. You never know. This naked lady might have a sword somewhere.
Hey, I saw the remake of Leatherface, and she pulled a gun from somewhere, and that was traumatizing.
I do remember that. That was creepy.
I mean, just because someone's naked doesn't mean they're not dangerous in the D&D world. They
Mhm.
could be a
This
caster.
is true.
Yeah, that's right. Stab her right in the throat.
So you're going up there, and as she looks up at you, and she sees you with your hand on your sword, and she just starts to cry, and she is like, "Please, please don't kill me, please, please," and she's just repeating herself over and over again.
Okay.
Oh.
Listen, ma'am. I'm not,
Nice and soothing.
I'm not
Listen,
here
ma'am.
to kill you. What are you running from?
Oh my god, I and she just like is stammering, like she can't get anything out right now. She's just like crying and just saying, don't kill me, and like and like she's freaking hysterical. But you can see as you get closer too that she has burn marks, or like chafe marks on her wrists and on her neck, and also like a bunch of cuts.
I
mean, you're
I-
the one who can do the healing here.
yeah, but I don't think I like it.
Spell slots.
That is a spell slot. You're right.
Yeah. I can smack her with my mage hand. That's free. I grab my bedroll and I kind of drape it around her.
Okay. She is starting to calm down, and obviously now like she's freezing, so she wraps it around her and she's shivering, and she says, thank you. Like,
I turn to Goldilocks. I'm like, do you have like an extra dress or some fancy stuff? Like just like a nice summer dress, preferably yellow.
I don't think a summer dress is gonna help.
We are going north and it's winter, so I think like a nice yellow summer dress is probably going to be a little chilly.
mm-hmm.
But I do have some extra female clothing in my bag, so I can spare, some.
Maybe a bra, cover up those boobs.
This is the medieval times. We just let them
Yeah.
I'm
flap about.
offended.
Land your ship there. So she starts to talk, and just stepping out of her, because I don't. She's talking about her escape, and she says that she just escaped, and there is a way out, and she's talking about a cave, and then she said, but the people who came with me, they didn't make it.
There was other people with you?
There were. We attempted to make an escape, but not all of us made it.
Well, what exactly were you trying to escape from? What's in that cave?
The cave was the way out. That place, and she points to the door that has all of the sort of goblin iconography all over it, that place is hell.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds pleasant.
Sounds warm. I'm a little bit cold.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're saying there's a way into that stronghold through the cave?
That's how I escaped, she says to you.
Are
Okay,
the
but
other
this-
people
is
that
this-
were with you, sorry, did they die or they just couldn't escape when you escaped?
I don't know. I just kept running.
Just kept running. So
Probably
there might
smart.
be other people in there.
Is this the short house we're looking for?
This is the short house that you're looking for.
Oh, okay. So it is our mission.
Yeah. So this is where we want to be.
Okay.
So
All of the signs, all of the waypoints on the directions that she gave, lead to this area, and you haven't seen any other signs of settlement here, and
Okay.
the entranceway, while the description that she gave you isn't exactly, it didn't include all the goblin stuff, but it matches, like a
conveniently the
stonework.
goblin aspect was left out.
Yeah.
I kind of say to everybody, I'm like, it's probably best if we take some cover and not be seen. I'm sure they have spies out. I should not be within eye shot. We have a back way into the short house.
So
So I kind of scan around and ask Goldilocks to help me scan around to find a good place for us to set up a
like a perimeter almost,
staging, like a staging area before
staging
we go
area.
through the
Okay.
cave.
Uh-huh.
So you're wanting me to maybe use my perception and see if I can
Well, I
see
mean,
a nice
I'll
safe
roll a
place.
perception if it
Well,
works. If Pearson
all right,
works.
you go first, and we'll see how your perception check works.
A natural 20, and then 19.
Even on a nat 20, you get a 19. Yeah, I mean,
GG.
you get
That's good perception, though.
That
still.
is, and you were able to spot not only where she came from, you can sort of see that it's a natural kind of cave that goes into the cliff face, and there is a stream that sort of trickles out of it, so it's probably carved by water over the years, and there is a way in there, and there doesn't appear to be any signs of activity at this cave.
Do River and I follow them?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So before we head in there, I'm not going to ask her to come back to the cave with us because I doubt she's going to go. You gave her some clothes, right, Aaron?
Yeah, I gave her at least something to cover herself so
I-
she's not butt naked.
Mhm.
I give her some of my provisions, and I don't know how much gold we have. How much gold do we have?
Well, how much gold do you have?
Yeah, everybody has their own individual amount
Okay, I
of
think
gold.
we started with like 10, right? Or maybe
You started with, I don't know if you ended up actually rolling. Can you roll me, please, a d4 or 4d4, I think?
44.
Yeah, 4d4, please.
I
Okay.
don't remember if I ever did either.
You did.
Oh,
Well,
how much gold do I have?
That was. I'm not keeping track of all your gold for you. You need to do that yourself.
I can't
Okay.
remember where I saved it.
Okay, so
It should
you
be
have,
on your character sheet.
sheet,
already.
yeah, in the equipment section.
Yeah, so you have 9, so that's times 10. So you had 90 gold before you would have bought all your gear and everything. So let's say you have about 45 gold.
okay.
Yeah.
I give her what is EP? I only know gold, copper, and silver. I don't know what EP is.
Electrum, I think. Electrum pieces.
Oh, what is that?
No
like
one ever uses that one.
Yeah.
Is that like order or something? Anyway, I'm going to give her like it's 100 to 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can have as many smaller denominations of.
Yeah. I'm gonna give her like I'll give her 10 silver. And I'll say you can use this to hitch a ride. I'm assuming that you do not want to follow us into the cave.
She says, she just starts to shake, but she says, thank you, and she said, please try to get. There's more of us in there, and you need to help them get out, and then she sort of wastes no time. Once she has that silver, she's got something on her back. she is hightailing it out. She says, "I got to get out of here, out of these hills before nightfall."
Bye, Felicia.
My girl, bye.
Okay, so what now? You have 2 ways into the short house.
Well, I think that the cave is probably the best. So, I mean, I'd suggest that we head to the entrance of the cave, just outside of eyesight from any lookouts from the short house, and maybe set up a little staging area before we head in, because there will be battles.
Okay. So you get inside the cave, and you said you're gonna set up like a little bit of a staging area, like someplace. Like, what do you do to set up the staging area?
Just like we make sure that our weapons, or I'm making sure that my weapons are sharp. I tune my instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I, make sure I got my this and my that. Just double checking that we have everything. Just a way to kind of, and then it's a chance for the four of us to talk and decide how we want to proceed.
Mm-hmm.
So
how do you want to proceed? Like, what do you want to go in order? Is there a marching order?
well,
Very carefully.
who's heavily melee?
I'm all melee.
River's melee.
Yeah.
Okay. So River can be in the front. Fang,
Yeah.
Fang, you've got a bow, right?
I have a longbow. Yep.
And when you've got magic, and I can also I can also take the front. We can go 2x2. I'll be up with River.
Hurrah.
And
Halflings in front.
Yeah. There you go, little guys. You
like
just,
taking
us
a
tall
picture.
people.
It's picture day.
Yeah. Us tall people will just stand in the back with our ranged weapons, and you little shorties just run on ahead and stab them in the ankles.
Okay, we are gonna be entering into the sort of next phase. We've been streaming now for 2 hours and 42 minutes. I am hoping to take not as long of a break this time, but just a quick, just couple of minutes, just to get some things set up, and then we will continue on into the cave.
All right.
When you're fixing things, you've zoomed in on my face, and it's uncomfortably close. If you could
Yeah, mine
unzoom in
too.
on my face.
Let me. I will fix that.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right. So
Okay.
we'll see people back in no more than 5
5 minutes?
minutes. Yeah.
Sounds
Do you
good.
have
Alright,
more
sounds good.
dulcimer music going for the
I
chat?
like I said, I if people don't talk in like I can't mute. Okay, try talking now.
I think you'd have to mute all of us individually.
Yeah. See, like I
Well-
said, Skype is not making this easy on us. So
No.
yeah, I will get this worked out for next stream, but for now I apologize for the people in chat, but I'm just gonna get a transition going here, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thanks.
Deal. Hi, Ducky.
Sup?
I think Bryce thought he turned off his webcam, but then I saw him like running into the background. I'm like, I don't think he knows it didn't work.
I'm just gonna do this because we're on break.
And that.
Yeah, that's your
Why
job.
not? Yeah. Pimp all the cars.
Hit my ride. I need to start streaming again. I am so disgruntled.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so because it's October, so I'm gonna do like a Spooktober thing as well.
Mhm.
So I downloaded Bendy and the Ink Machine, and then bought Chapter 2, and then 2 days later they released Chapter 3. I'm like, I don't have any money for Chapter 3.
Well, then you'll have to take it very, very slowly.
But each chapter is only like an hour long.
Oh.
At least that's what I've like read. So I'm
Well.
disgruntled. I'm just gonna have to hope someone donates $10 so I can buy it.
I'm trying to figure out. I bought Alien Isolation, which is a bad idea. And
So good. No, it's so good.
and I got Layers of Fear, so I'm trying to figure out what am I gonna start Spooktober with.
Oh, apparently they could hear us.
Yeah, now
Oh.
we're back.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Didn't
sorry.
hear you say anything.
My mic was like I said, technical difficulties. I am new at this, and we're gonna make it work better for next time. So we're heading through the cave now, and the marching order was 2x2. And the first thing that you notice is the smell. It smells very like you would imagine a wet underground kind of dank, moldy kind of cave to smell. But there's another kind of dank, yeah. There is another smell that you pick out, and it is the smell of like, I guess the only way to put it is sort of decay or rot.
Oh, a nice fetid, however you want to say that word.
Yeah.
Stinky.
And then as
Good.
you're going through the cave, I mean, it's running alongside a stream as you're going into the side of the hill, and then it branches off to the right, and you can see that there's no way to follow the stream up. The water is sort of rushing down through a waterfall, and then it goes down out of from an underground stream out of the cave entrance. But the cave does continue to the right, and in that cave you can sort of see ahead, and especially you, Aylwin, keep in mind you have dark vision, so you can see in the dark. Everyone else needs torches, so I mean, I'm imagining at this point people have pulled out the torches and they're making sure that they can see. But you can see beyond the torchlight, and you see something that is a little bit unsettling. You can see the beginnings of spider webs.
Aaron's favorite.
I'm not happy about it.
Now, is Aaron unhappy or is Elwyn unhappy?
That's this is
yes.
this is the question.
The answer is just yes.
Neither of us are pleased by
Because I don't think Aaron can play somebody that's not afraid of spiders.
Nope, that is outside of my comfort zone.
Yes.
Completely. So I'm going to warn them. I'm probably going to have a knee-jerk reaction of something like, blah, 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 because I don't like anything spiderly, and they're going to probably wonder, why is Goldilocks having a freak out over here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding my torch away so that my body doesn't go up in flames.
Yes, exactly. And you, I mean, I'm assuming continuing up through the cave.
Yeah, but if Elwyn stopped, I'm gonna be curious why she stopped. 'Cause I'm assuming it's because she can see farther and she saw the spider webs before we did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of like step back and look at her kind of quizzically.
Okay.
Do you guys let us know, or are we just going?
The halflings are gone.
So, like,
I mean, halflings are naturally very brave, so.
apparently the half elf is very brave, except for this. I'm gonna try and warn, like, without yelling, because how far ahead of us?
Well, we would have only been like 5 feet in front of you.
Okay, so I can sort of, you guys, don't, like, try not to give away our position, but I'm trying to get their attention at, like, spider, so big with the legs and the
Spiders. Just the
Um,
big. I don't think you see any spiders yet, but you see evidence of it. Like they're and the more you go in, the thicker the webs get, and you do sort of see that they're where you would expect, like up high, they're still there, but down low they what look to have been recently torn through, probably while the woman was escaping.
I ask Goldilocks, what is your knowledge on spiders?
I know that I don't like them.
Okay, maybe big spiders. What do you know about the monsters, big spiders? Like, would that and just like a question to DM, would that be like a nature check?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably like a nature.
That is a nature check, yeah. And
Okay.
Bryce, or sorry, Fang, you have your favored enemy as beasts.
Yeah.
So you do have advantage on these checks.
I was just about to ask if I would be able to identify like what kind of webs, what may have made this web. I was just about to ask that.
Yep. All right.
So
you want to give it a try?
yeah, so I say to Elwyn, I'm like, these are you say these are spider webs, right?
They're definitely
they are
webs
spider
from
yeah.
large spiders.
So I move around her and I get closer to the web to see if I can figure out what it is.
Smell the web. Taste the web.
Oh.
So this, you can tell, is the web of a giant wolf spider.
Okay, so behind us is the direction we're going.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back, take care of that nice old naked lady. Maybe she needs a friend, someone to talk to about what just happened. She's gonna need to debrief about.
Okay, well I'll let Pierce explain.
Well, I have a
how
job
much
to
he knows
do.
about it.
So a giant wolf spider is it's a medium-sized beast. So it probably, you'd picture it to be about two
dog
feet
size.
across. It's the size of a small dog. Yeah, like if you wanted to like if you took Isabel, Aaron, if you took your dog and then put spider legs on it.
Oh God.
They'd
Never
be-
look at it the same now.
They were the worst mental image.
I
Oh
know.
God.
I was thinking about what frame of reference can I really make this impactful, and it's like or like if you're looking at with Hilo there, Draco, if you made her just he's slightly bigger and put spider legs, that would be about the size of a giant wolf spider.
Yeah, you cute.
Mm-hmm. You do
Spider.
know that they're incredibly adept at climbing walls, and they can move through their webs very fast, that kind of stuff. And
Do they have any weaknesses?
they are
Swords. Swords.
yeah,
They're generally
swords. They're weak to fire.
Swords, magic, fire.
They are weak to fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
arrows.
especially the webbing. Right, the webbing is flammable. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad one of my spells involves lightning. It will catch that shit on fire and burn these freaks to the ground.
Okay.
I repeat this information to everyone so that they understand what the web is from and like what to expect if we were to move forward with like burning it or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that everyone's aware.
So what's the course of action? I heard a couple people vote to retreat.
No.
Okay.
I said, let's go. And I use an inspiring hymn to rally my team, but not in a way that uses my special abilities. Role
I
playing.
inspire them without
Yes.
inspiring.
That's right. So
I mean, we already have inspiration anyways. Oh, it's a different type of inspiration, isn't it? Bardic inspiration.
Yes, the Bardic Inspiration. Well, actually, I don't know if it's different, but Bardic Inspiration allows you to add an extra d6 to any one die roll.
Yeah, I think that's different from DM inspiration.
Yes.
Because that just gives you advantage. So you can have
Okay.
DM inspiration and Bardic inspiration, right?
I don't see why you couldn't put them on both. On the same.
I don't know. I'm asking Pierce.
Yeah, the Bardic Inspiration is like an ability, and the DM Inspiration is like a mechanic that gives you advantage on your rolls.
Okay, so you can have them both.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. But yeah, I guess we move forward. I'm gonna draw my short sword now that I know that there's a thing that could potentially be attacking us. Maybe.
Okay. That's fair.
I have my torch in my left hand and my whip in my right, ready to strike just in case
That's
the wolf
your-
spider would appear.
Your dagger?
Wait, do I have a whip too, right?
Yeah, I guess you do have a whip. That's right.
And the whip I think the whip has 10 feet of reach, if I'm right.
I think so.
I
Dagger. Yeah.
I think you can. Yeah.
Okay, so I draw my whip.
Okay, so as you're going forward, you get you notice that it's not just the webs aren't just sort of hanging from the ceiling. You also have the webs are hanging like they are covering the floor, and you're noticing that as you step in it, your boot kind of like it's sticky to try and walk, and as you start sort of moving forward, you start to hear something, and it's sort of like a chittering, like a and
Aaron has a minor freak out.
yeah, and who's up front again? It's
The halflings.
The halflings are up front.
It sure as hell.
You see two giant wolf spiders, and
Two of them,
and they are coming at you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, little guys.
So I'm gonna need
and Alwyn is gone.
I'm gonna need people to roll initiative for me, please, from your character sheet.
Yeah. Wait,
Where can I find initiative?
Top, kind of top middle-ish.
Oh, okay, I
I don't
see.
think that rolled properly.
Mm,
Yeah, mine didn't roll properly because I tried to use the.
halfling luck +4. That's weird. That's a weird roll.
There, I think that. Yeah, okay. So the second one.
Holy
is
shit,
actually-
thing.
Should I roll again or no?
Did
Hold on
mine
here.
show up? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like okay.
Yep, we got me, Fang, Revere, and Elwyn.
Okay, so if we have, where's my? Okay, so now we have.
Whoa.
Going to sort descending. Let me update. Sorry for the chat. I appreciate once again. So we had the Fang with the initiative, Draco 11, Fang 21, River 13, Iowin 19, and the Wolf Spiders got 12. So I would like Fang to decide what would you like to do. They are about 15 feet away from you right now, and they are on the way. There's two of them on the way in.
How flammable is this web that we're standing in?
Pretty
Yes.
flammable. The web that you're standing in is
Yeah.
the is the key.
Is the key is the operative phrase. How far
I prefer
forward
to
did we
remain
move
flame
after
free.
we stepped into webs?
Your movement is halved in difficult terrain.
I mean, how far did we, in distance, how far did we actually move?
You went in like a good 30-40 feet up the cave before you got closer to where they were, so you're in it.
Okay, so can't really light it on fire.
Well, you could. I'm not saying
I
that you
could, but it would...
But then we're all gonna go up in
yeah,
flames
people wouldn't
too.
really like me.
Like
doing
what's one
that.
of those classic DM sayings? It's like, "Are you sure?"
Are you sure?
Sure,
You
you
can
want
certainly
to do
try.
Are you sure you want to stab that guy and kill him right now?
this?
Hey, he
Yeah,
didn't
that
ask that.
about
He let
2
me.
hours
He let me
ago.
do that. No, I'm making up for it.
Oh, dude, that's part of your character. Now you own it.
Yeah.
You go with
Yeah.
it. Now you're like the one that when he gets weird, when he gets like stressed out, he just does like yeah,
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he had a
Panic
really bad week.
stabs.
panic stabs, stab stab.
He had a really bad week. See, we're in difficult terrain. I want to get everyone back so that we can actually light the web on fire. Because I don't know if the wolf spiders are going to go much farther than their web.
But we also don't want to alert them that we're coming through here.
Right, so lighting the web on fire would be a bad idea.
Yeah,
And we
it's
have to
kind
do
of
this quietly.
I mean, you
giant
got a
thing.
bow, right?
I do have a bow, but they're like 15 feet away, and I have my whip instead. So that would take time to switch out.
Also, he's holding a torch.
I am holding a torch. I have to be very careful to not touch the web with it.
Oh yeah, probably a
Um,
good idea. Don't accidentally light us on fire. It's worse than purposefully lighting us on fire.
Mm-hmm.
What are my combat options right now?
The spiders are both currently out of range. They're 15 feet away of your whip, but they are in range of your longbow. Your other, let me take a quick peek at your sheet, and I'm not sure. I mean, we don't need to overthink it too much. I mean,
Right.
if you saw a freaking giant spider, I'm just wondering how you think that Fang would react.
Well, my
hopefully,
first
hopefully
instinct
better than me.
Yeah. I would say we can't really move anywhere.
Well, you have half movement, so you can
Yeah, I
move
have
15.
well, I have half movement, so it's going to be more difficult. I will. Is there like an equivalent to bracing or getting like
You can
preparing
ready.
yourself?
You could ready that the option to ready an action would you'd have to be specific about what you wanted, what you're waiting for, and what you will do. But if you wanted to ready and wait for them to get in range, it's I mean, I'm not trying to metagame too hard here, but I mean,
Right.
if you let them get in on you,
Mhm.
your whip and your dagger are not as effective as your longbow.
I know. And two other people have torches, right?
Yeah.
How wide is the?
10 feet wide.
Okay, so we're walking two, so we're blocking them from. Okay.
Yep.
And
Well,
how
we're
tall
also
is
we're
it?
halflings. They can just
Yeah.
walk over us.
Oh, I'm behind Okay, I forgot I was behind
But
everyone.
you
we're
Okay.
don't have to worry
we're
about
still-
shooting people. It's fine.
Right.
We still cause threat. So I'm not sure how threat works in 5th edition. But for them walking through our squares, I don't know how attacks of opportunity or anything work
Yeah,
in 5th
so-
edition. So
Yeah, we'll get more into this. I set this up as a little bit more of just like a encounter to sort of get people rolling and getting in the mode of combat, just to step out and meta just a little bit. We don't need to overthink this. We need to let's smash
Okay.
these spiders and move on.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh,
could we please smash the spiders and move on?
I draw my longbow,
All right.
and I'm ready. And if they get too close, I will fire a shot.
Well, your longbow has like a bajillion range. You could just shoot them right now.
I could, yeah. Well, that's very true.
they're gonna attack us. We're in that.
They're
Yeah.
Go ahead.
down. Yeah, they're coming at you. They are.
Okay, I draw my longbow, and I fire a shot at the closest one.
Okay. Did you roll for that?
I did now.
Okay, an 8 to hit. that is a miss. Your shot sails wide. All right,
Hmm.
Iowyn, you're up.
Oh God. Okay. Well, as much as I don't want to do this, I don't want to. Okay, what am I gonna do? Let's see. I mean, I do have the light crossbow. That should have far enough reach to hit one of them, correct?
Yep.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
All right. So I'll use that then.
Panic shots.
That is an 11 to hit, which also misses. Your shot sails wide.
It's because I'm nervous. My hands are shaking.
Yeah. River, you're up. There.
All right.
Yep. Go.
Would I be able to use my torch as a weapon?
It does, I guess, like 1d4 bludgeoning damage, you know, and then I guess if it lights on fire, then yeah.
All right. So I'm going to I'm going to do what I do, and I'm gonna go to the closer spider, and I'm going to try to smack it with my club.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to actually roll that manually because I don't have club as a weapon. I guess I wouldn't have proficiency, would I?
Why are you not hitting it with your sword?
Because I get 2 attacks.
Oh, okay. But don't you
I
have
wanna
2
hit it with-
swords?
Yeah, but I'm holding a torch.
Oh, yes, I
a
see. That's
sword.
right. Okay, and sorry.
I'm not letting go of my torch. I got a rapier.
So I'm guessing I don't get proficiency, which means that I would just get plus my strength modifier, right?
Yeah.
Because it's if I
A
did it
12. A
properly.
12 is a hit.
Hey, all right. And then you
So-
said 1d4
Yep.
plus strength.
That is 8. So you crush this thing. It's not completely dead, but it goes down, and I mean, you wounded it, but it's still sort of like lurching around a little bit, like sort of like some of its legs are crushed, but it's still going in a circle.
All right, well, let me use my bonus action to stab it with my short sword.
Okay. And that does 6 slashing damage. So as you slash it, you cleave this thing in half, and all of this like black ichor kind of
Yeah.
oozes out.
Yum yum.
Yum yum.
I didn't actually say that.
All right, that is you. Now it is Barwick's turn. So one of the spiders is
Well,
now down.
the spider's got 12.
Spiders go first.
Oh, spiders go first. That's right. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. So the spider is going to scurry up to River and take a bite.
That's
is
a miss.
That is a miss.
Miss.
So
It was so intimidated by the fact that I obliterated its friend.
It's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we go back up to Fang.
Did Barwich get a turn?
Barwich. Ah.
Barwick.
Sorry, Barwick.
Barwick, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I read it as Barwich for like 3 weeks as we were preparing
Yeah, I
for
know.
this.
Because
It's kinda hard
someone
to
used
swap
to
back
be a
to
bar
Barwick.
wench, so
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about why you're a wormwood girl, okay? So don't even go.
Hey. Okay.
I picked like the most Canadian last name, Winter Breeze. Like, come on.
Is that what happens with like the abominable snowman farts?
Yes.
Like a
Yes,
winter breeze?
exactly. So Barwick,
Um,
you got a spider up in your grill. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to did it attack me or did it attack Fang?
It went. The one that came up tried to attack.
here.
River.
Me,
River.
River.
Yep.
Yeah, River. Okay. So I go up there and I'm jab with my rapier. Jab.
Okay. Let's see.
Huzzah. Oh shit.
Oh, you
Really?
should have used your inspiration.
Yeah, I should have used my inspiration.
9 is a miss. So yeah, you miss on that on your slash with your rapier.
That would have been a lot of damage.
It would have been a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are back up to Fang.
The giant spider is in Barwick's grill.
Yep. Barwick's Grill
Fuck
sounds like
my
a
God.
great restaurant.
I know.
Do I have time to put away my longbow and?
You can just shoot. Like, there's no
Yeah,
penalty for
you
shooting.
can shoot it. As long as it's not right next to you,
Okay.
if it's right next to you, if it's within 5 feet of you, you get disadvantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can shoot into 2 people like in melee in 5th edition. There's no penalty or anything for it.
Okay.
Okay.
I move if I need to move to get a better shot on this wolf spider, and I fire another shot at it. I need to get more proactive on this.
Sorry.
All right. A 12 is a miss.
No, 12's a hit.
12 is a hit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
12 is a hit.
Because I hit with a 12
You
before.
hit with the
so-
12, and with the 9 damage, yeah, you sink one of your arrows right into the side of this thing, and you hear it unleash this like kind of like sound as it as it sort of feels the damage. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Iowyn, you're up.
I'm just recovering from that noise. I
Note to self: more spiders.
no. I mean, one of my spells is sleep. If I put the one that's still alive asleep, it will make it easier for everyone else to kill.
Yeah, but it's almost dead anyway.
Yeah, it's almost dead anyway. So I will give it one more go with my crossbow and not waste my sleeping spell. I do have Witch Bolt, but it's probably not a good idea to call lightning down in the middle of a cave with flammable stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
I have to agree.
So okay,
That and the thunder from that would be ridiculous.
yeah, that, and I don't really want to whack it with my quarterstaff because then I have to get even closer to it. So yeah, we'll go with the crossbow.
Okay. Ooh.
I hope that one
nice.
hit that time.
Yes, it does.
Yes, please tell me that was the killing blow and there's no more spiders.
Yeah. So what I'm sort of, I want you to describe what you, how this plays out, because you do kill this spider, but what do you, like how?
please tell me her eyes are closed while she's doing that.
She kind of just looks away. And
So yeah,
fires.
so you,
Yeah,
you
just
fire, you
basically
fire your
sort of like-
crossbow. Yeah, no, that's good.
Peeking through fingers, as I really don't like spiders. I sort of line up with my crossbow and sort of go, please hit, and
Mhm.
like use my bolt at it.
Okay.
And perhaps my party members can describe it to me, but all I hear is this very loud squelching sound, and
Ooh,
then
yeah.
some screeching, and then the screeching stops.
Thankfully, the screeching stops.
Thank
And-
Jesus.
And yeah, no, that is all of the spiders that you see. You have vanquished the spiders.
Thank God.
We have solved your spider puzzle.
You,
That's
Thank
the
you.
only Adventure Zone reference I'm gonna make.
it's okay.
I don't believe you.
You're probably right.
They're all gonna go over my head because I haven't seen that. So, what? So you're now out of combat. Initiative is finished. Now we're looking at the sort of aftermath. You've got these spider corpses. The cave does continue up, and you do notice that from where you're at, you do see that the webs are starting to get lighter and lighter as you sort of continue up the cave. And
Sorry, as we're going, I just want to check to make sure that through the webs that no other person may be in a cocoon that tried to escape.
fascinating that you say
If that makes sense.
So
Mm.
as you're going, you do notice that there are there's bodies here. There are some goblin corpses that you can sort of see. One of them is fresh. It's freshly laying on the ground, and this is the corpse of a goblin. It has its leather armor, and it's sort of banged up scimitar, and you can see that it has been has many bite marks over its face, and it's all swollen up and sort of purple, and it looks to be paralyzed, so maybe not entirely a corpse just yet. So it looks like the spiders were in the process of cocooning this goblin up when you interrupted it.
No wonder they were mad. We were stopping it from eating.
Mm-hmm.
I can eat any more.
So you do look and see that this goblin does appear to be alive, but is paralyzed.
I turned to the group. I said, "Are we going to take the opportunity to interrogate and get information, or shall I just coup de grace this?"
I don't think he can talk.
Well, we would have to wait until he can.
Yeah.
Does anybody speak goblin?
No, I
Nope.
got common.
Does anybody have comprehend languages or anything? Oh, I have comprehend languages.
What spell slots?
Yeah, it's the second. Well, you'll use a spell slot, but I can do it.
I don't know if we really need to.
Okay. I just say okay, and then I stab it in the throat.
Okay. Yeah, you
And then I rifle
free
through
the
its
goblin from its
pocket.
terrible nightmare of being imprisoned, and then probably seeing you all come up and maybe discuss for a little while about what to do, and then you just come over and kill it and put it out of its misery.
Sort of like, enough talk, more stab.
Yeah.
I turned to him. I was like, "Tried."
That's right. So, can I get everybody to give me perception checks, please?
Did I get my arrows back whenever we were out of combat?
I'm gonna assume that you get your arrows back, Bryce. You don't need to
Okay.
track your ammunition.
Hey,
Nice.
I
That's
see.
much better.
Whoa! Look at these.
I've seen it
My
all. He
perception did not go well there.
says.
Aaron and I are busy playing in the spider webs.
Yeah, we're just sort of like. La,
I'm
la,
sorry.
la.
I know it's not actually your roll, but you rolled an actual 0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
I
So-
did roll a 0. Oh my
But
god.
we did have 2 people nat 20 on this though.
Yeah, I just saw
Yeah.
that.
So thank God 2 of us can see.
Two of you
Yeah.
can see, and what you see is it looks like these spiders have made a habit of preying on the goblins, and there are also some other humanoid corpses that are in there, and these ones though are all cocooned and appear to be completely desiccated.
Any treasures or anything we find?
Do you want to go take a look? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know
mean,
if
I
he
am.
wants to go take a look.
Yeah, Draco, you're going to sort of cut into this cocoon to sort of see. You find Draco finds on one of the human creatures a pouch that contains times 3. Sorry, times 3. It has 6 silver pieces in it. And the question I have for you is, are you sharing this with the rest of the group, or are you going to try and pocket this for yourself?
I just hold it out there. I say, "See, you have. This is how we get paid."
Stab first, then loot.
Stab first, then loot. Okay, so you have it's a small pouch, but there is other stuff in there. I mean, there's a lot of little things that you probably don't have a lot of value to you, but were probably pretty valuable to these people, like lockets with pictures, portraits in them painted, and like there's someone's sort of like traveling journal is in there as well. It like there's a lot of sort of sentimental kind of keepsake stuff, but you kind of get the sense that maybe anything super valuable would have been taken from them.
Okay.
So you have a nominal amount of silver. Are you taking any of the keepsake stuff?
I have no reason to.
All right. Does
The side
Barwick
quest
does Bar,
hasn't
does Bar,
begun.
Does Barwick kind of like pull open the journal and kind of look at it?
I pick it up, flip through it, see if anything fell out, and then toss it on the ground.
I pick up the journal
Okay.
and pocket it.
Okay. So you add into your so Barwick, for now, can you put the 6 silver pieces in your inventory, and Fang, can you please add the traveling journal in your inventory as well?
Inventory. Oh god, I feel so lost now.
It's okay. Just note it for later.
Yeah.
All right.
As
Just
you
do that.
I would suggest getting like a notepad or something just to write stuff down.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to the dollar store later and pick up something fancy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're finished in the spider nest now.
Yeah.
Please, can we be done in the spider net? I would love to be done in the spider net.
Okay, so that being said, now we are going to continue up towards the end of the tunnel. You notice it starts to get narrower and narrower until up ahead you can sort of see a rough-hewn circular opening in the ceiling that has just sort of like a whole bunch of boards sort of loosely laid over top of it. You can sort of see that they've just been sort of piled that way.
So this is a pit that they throw things into.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a fair assessment as to what happens. Maybe throw unruly people down here and let the spiders have them, or generally kind of just chuck stuff down here for sure. Yeah.
We don't need this anymore.
Like around here's are garbage and discarded things all around this circular part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So what are we doing with this? So you're all still down in the cave, and what are we?
And so up is the only way out?
Up is the way out. Yep.
Oh.
Is there, I'm guessing, like a ladder or like rope or something hanging down, or?
No, it's only about like I said, the cave sort of narrows and it's in the ceiling, so it's about 5 feet up. I mean, I know that's a lot.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot for a halfling, but at this point, both Fang and Iowin are starting to crouch.
Okay, so I thought it was like, like 10, 15 feet, like.
I thought it was like 20 feet, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was a lot higher.
Okay.
Where the tall ones are starting to get a little squishy.
Yeah,
That sounds like a personal problem.
it is.
Like,
Yeah.
you're just jealous because I'm gorgeous and 6 feet tall.
I'm gorgeous and short.
Yeah.
It's
You got me
true,
there.
he is. That was the notable thing about him.
Yes.
Where are we at here? Are we gonna go up through? Are we gonna go up through the sort of manhole?
I mean, if it's the only way to go, then.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
just wondering exactly how we go about doing this.
I mean,
Well, there's a couple of things we can do. We can wait until it's dark.
It is very dark.
Oh, it's dark. Okay.
Like as soon as you got in the cave, it was like pitch black. I mean, Iowin can see because she has dark vision. However, I mean, at this point, you can picture that your torches would be casting light up through the loose boards into the room above, and you don't hear anything, and it does seem quite still at this point.
Okay.
I say
Well,
quietly.
If
I
someone
asked
wants
her,
to boost me up, I can take a peek.
Who's night vision?
I have night vision.
You should take a look.
All right. So
That doesn't require
perception.
boosting, so.
Yeah.
So you're poking your head up to take a look.
Yeah, I'll pop my head up and look and see what I can see.
Before she does that, I quietly suggest to extinguish our torches so that in case anyone is ahead, they won't be able to see us.
Yeah,
They won't be able to see the light.
Probably a good idea. We don't want them to be blinded by the light.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have on my Hey, we said no Scott Scat.
Sorry. Just happens, okay?
Can torches be relit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I extinguish my torch.
I would say we have
Same.
some way to make fire, so shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
You don't need to worry too much about like
The
one
details.
torch, two torch. Usually one torch is good enough. I mean, Pierce isn't making us count arrows or.
No, it's that's the kind of minutia that I find exhausting and not fun. So we'll just assume that if you extinguish your torch, that you have the means to light it up again.
Okay.
Someone brought a lighter. At the very least.
I got my Bic. Let's go.
Yeah. Right. You guys put out your torches, and I guess then that would probably be a perception check.
Okay.
Perception roll.
So you poke your head up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it comes off.
Okay, just a second.
Slowly, just in case there is someone there waiting, so that if they do whack me, they're only going to take off my ponytail. They're not going to take off the top of my skull.
What's your AC?
That's never a good question.
It looks like I made the right choice. It wasn't me.
11.
Okay, your AC is 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as you poke your head up, you hear the like a sproing go off, and when you poked your head up and you sort of jostled one of the boards, right? And when you jostled one of the boards, it sort of pushed on a spring, which then pulled a cotter pin, and before you have time to react, there is sort of like a curved stick that has a spike on the end of it, and it swings in and does roll.
This is what happens when you don't have a rogue in your party.
I know, right?
It does crit damage.
You're not dead, are you?
No, she's not dead.
She's not
Okay.
dead.
Just very badly disfigured.
I say, well, that wasn't a very good idea, now was it?
It was your fucking idea.
I will cure light wounds that business.
All right, so
We probably should have bought potions before we came here.
potion seller.
This
I'm
is
going into battle.
misogynistic that the woman got
I
I need
injured
your
the most
strongest
first.
potions.
Okay, so what is the difference? Why do I have these two, by the way, here? I have Cure Wounds +4, 1d8 +6, and then Cure Wounds with just 1d8 +4.
We're gonna probably we're gonna have an opportunity to look at that, and we're sort of starting to get down to the wind down. I just wanted to describe exactly what Erin, when she pokes up and after she gets freaking hit with the spike trap, and it's like, ah, God, but the first thing that you see, and as soon as you're sort of like, whoa, peeking up, you just see in this sort of room, the room itself is about 30 feet by 30 feet. It's about a square with the pathway goes further down, and then there's a corner. You can see this because of your dark vision. And all around you, like piled is clothing and shoes and boots and like sort of like bric-a-brac and small keepsakes, and it looks like everything's been sort of rummaged through. And
Oh my God, we're going to a hoarder's house.
yeah, I mean, it looks like this is probably where people were stripped of all their stuff, and it was all just sort of piled around. There are some weapons laying around, like little daggers, and there's a broken bow, that kind of stuff. And yeah, and as you poke your head, like that sense, that feeling of just like something awful has happened here, you know, like for this many people to have all of their possessions stripped, and at that point, you know, like we're probably, and we're now at almost 3.5 hours
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
streaming. Time flies. I think this is probably a good point to break.
Okay.
How are we feeling?
It's now that I say I have a bad feeling about this place.
All right.
I'll just lay here bleeding quietly on the floor while you take your break.
I say that as I look at Elwyn.
As long as it's quietly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, tiny one.
We're about to go right up inside Short House right now.
That's right. And it was a surprisingly large cavity as well. It got four of you through there.
Oh,
Okay.
honey, don't worry about that.
So I want to for myself, and then I'll let each of you sort of pimp your channel. Please, I want to say thank you to everybody for stopping in. You know, like taking part. I want to say thank you to my wonderful party. Everybody put so much freaking hard work into making this happen. Everybody who stopped in, all of the new follows. I'm gonna go back now and. So Diesel with the 13 viewer host. I heard that was like right at when we went on break too.
Yeah,
Right?
we're sort of like, and BRB, and we're like, no.
Yeah. And Jay Kool-Aid, Banjo Wind, Fire Ethereal, Crazy Dawn 1233. Yeah, so we had a lot of follows since the last
almost
break
to
as well.
50
so.
followers already.
Almost.
Yay.
I know we're getting there. So Short House's cavities are dangerously booby trapped.
Well, they are.
Okay.
That's a warning. That's a
one
warning
cavity
to
search
anybody.
I don't want to do.
All right. We'll just go around the horn. Can we start with Bryce? Do you want to say anything before we shut her down?
I just want to say thank you, Pierce, for putting all this together. I put my hands together for you because you've done a fantastic job so far. I'm looking forward to the next session, whenever that may be. But hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for stopping, and I, for one, can say I had a lot of fun.
Thanks, Bryce. Ducky.
Pretty much what Bryce said. Thank you for coming in. I was just about to plug the Discord. We do have a Discord if you want to go there, and we'll be, around talking if you have any questions about, stuff that happened, or if, you're looking into maybe starting stuff yourself and want some help. I think, we're reasonably, I'm reasonably confident that I would be able to help.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. We're also going to be announcing when the next session is, hopefully everywhere, but Discord is a good place to find out that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can follow me on Twitch as well. That's in the channel chat. And thank you.
Jeez, 7-hour session. He was a taskmaster.
Sorry, was that me or Aaron next?
Doesn't Barwick, Draco, you can go.
Okay. I want to thank Pierce. He did a lot of work. It was a lot. Seemed like it was a lot more than I had to do myself. So I really appreciate setting it all up. I'm really excited to get into see what Roll20 can do and how we can show all the viewers what the session is going to be like. Thanks for hanging out and chatting and keeping us all on our toes. Chat, thank you so much. Follow Short House if you're not already. He's 50 followers, and he'll be eligible for
affiliation.
Affiliate. Obviously, the viewer count is way more than high enough, so that's not going to be a problem. So get that done, and check out, Bruce, Aaron, and Ducky.
All right, and Aaron, last but not least, you made it through the spider encounter.
I made it through the spider encounter. I knew it was probably coming today when you were testing rolls for wolf spiders, and I was like, God damn it. But I'm happy that there was no accompanying awful spider imagery, which I do greatly appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. I was, as the rest of the group can probably attest, like super nervous because the last group I was in was like super casual, and we had like a lot of side talk and a lot of metagaming talk and stuff like, and very rarely did we progress through our story because we had a lot of other stuff happening. So this, I think we made it further in this than I ever did with my last D&D group. And that's not a like shot at them. It was just a different experience. So this has been cool. and a lot of work went into it. I knew you had worked really hard on like the layout and the capturing and everything, but
And
you
it
weren't
was still
showing
so
us.
broken.
No, no,
I'm
no.
gonna get it
looks-
fixed. I'm gonna get it fixed for
looks-
next time.
There was
No,
there
it looks
barely any issues at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had any concept of how to actually set this up, so I think it looks really, really cool. Between like the way you've got it now and then when you have it with like the map and the other sort of way, I think it looks awesome, and there's a lot of work you've put into this. Probably more than, I mean, me and Bryce have very minimal experience with D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just showing me how much work the GM or DM really has to put in before it can even come together. Like, you had to take all four of us, completely four random people who have no reason to be together, find a way to get us all in the same place at the same time in a way that makes sense and have it flow cohesively, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and I want to take a second. Thank you for all the kind words, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I want to talk about Llama, who's in the chat right now. That Llama girl did some absolutely amazing art. Here, let me. I'm gonna pull it up here. Just transition over to here and go over into Roll20 and just sort of like zoom in on this freaking art she did for our character portraits. It looks so good. It looks so good.
It does.
They look amazing. I love it.
And fantastic.
And
So let's go left to right and say who those are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the far
very
left.
yeah.
Yeah.
On the very left is me, Fang Selmick.
Right next to that is River Winterbreeze, which is my character.
And then the token woman, Islewin Wormwood, is me with the blue background.
And I'm that very attractive halfling right there.
There you go.
Yes.
And we're gonna see more of these as we go through next session. Yeah, and I did pay Q, so I feel like I got my money's worth on that one. So.
Yeah. Llama, unrelated, but well, I mean, semi-related. But Llama also did my emotes as well as Aaron's emotes for our
All right.
Twitch channels.
And with that, I am gonna call it. So I want to say thank you, everybody for stopping in. Let me just see. Do we have anyone that would be good to send us over to? There's one of our friends who streams who has started playing Dark Souls 3, and that is a game that I think would be awesome. So I'm gonna kick us over to Big Pum and check out his stream. He's awesome. Just give him a follow and let him know everybody came and said hi. All right, thanks. Take care, everybody, and have a good one.
Wait, why can't
Bye, guys.
why can't I rest? Is there